Pro.
And like that, we're back with another Unpack presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
the G Shit Podcast.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
Yeah, fellas, we got a good one. We got another good one, a great one. We're gonna talk about a little capitalism versus socialism, or socialism versus capitalism, should I say? Was Fred Hampton right? Black America under socialism, is that the route? It's a lot of different little topics to get into. Between that, is Black America still enslaved by capitalism? Would socialism have saved the Black family? Fred Hampton versus Jay-Z, they both was born on the same day. Which dream, the dream of liberation or the $1 billion dream? Yeah, like I said, we got a lot of ways we can kind of peel this orange. But before we get there, got a fire panel. It's the favorites. Y'all see they cash apps, but I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. Starting with Johnny. Talk to us, brother. We can't hear you, Johnny.
What's going on, family?
Okay, there you go.
Glad to be back. We got a good one lined up. You just dropped the jewel on me. I did not know Jay-Z and Fred Hampton were born on the same day. So that's
yeah, he said it in Black Excellence.
That's
I arrived same day Fred Hampton died.
Okay, I guess that was just went over my head. This is a good one. I'm excited to be here. Y'all hop in the chat. And yeah, I'm excited.
And you want people to respect your rap takes, Johnny. That's one that's supposed to be ingrained. Nonetheless,
that's a history fact, man.
G, talk to us, brother.
What's good, everybody? It's G, host of the GSH podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and F everything else. Check it out wherever you get your pods. Just search GSH POD. Hi.
And last but not least,
yo,
Hey Black, talk to him, brother.
What's up, everybody? Happy to be here. Happy Wednesday, man. I feel like we were just here. Like these weeks is flying by. But yo, man, let's get it.
Yes, sir. All right, so shout out everybody that popped up into the Jubilee reaction that we kind of sat and watched here. It was a real fun conversation. Shout out to what's her name again? What's the woman that did it? She did a really good job. Say it again.
Amanda Seales.
Amanda Seales. There we go. I don't know why I wanted to say Amanda Williams, and I knew that wasn't right. But yeah, shout out to Amanda Seales. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was expecting her to go up there and be really cocky and get embarrassed over and over and over. But word from A Black, it's like a samurai. Like each one, it was weird. Like I don't know if I would have given anybody a clear W against her, but she had a lot of clear concessions, which I thought was interesting. But as a follow-up, this is a follow-up from last week. We did talk about our guy, and Dr. Umar. He has a new pitch for the ladies. I'd love to get y'all opinions on this.
A lunch with the doctor. You make a $500 donation to FDMG Academy, ladies. $500 donation to FDMG Academy, and you get a free lunch with Dr. Umar, restaurant of your choice in the state of Wilmington, Delaware. I said we got a new program called Lunch with Dr. Umar. Private lunch. Ladies, you got to donate $500 to the FDMG Academy, and I will take you to lunch, private lunch, any restaurant you want in the state of Delaware. It's called Lunch with the Doctor, and it costs you $500. You don't pay for the lunch. I pay for the lunch. Any restaurant in the state of Delaware. Oh, yes. Brothers, don't hate. We got to stop hating. Brothers, we got to stop hating. Don't hate my ninja, because if I ask your wife if she want that luncheon, if I ask your wife if she want that luncheon, if I ask your baby mom, do she want that luncheon with the doctor, we know what she gonna say, ninja. Don't test my intellectual gangster. If I roll up on your girlfriend, your live-in prisoner, you call a girlfriend. If I roll up on your live-in prisoner, your romantic prisoner, you call a girlfriend who ain't there because she want to be, she there because she got to be. If I roll up on your romantic prisoner, my brother, If I roll up on your romantic prisoner, you call a girlfriend who living with you because she got to, not because she want to. Do she want that lunch date with the doctor? Do your wifey want that lunch date with the doctor? I think we all know the answer to that. Me and you are not the same. I keep telling you that.
All right.
He posted this post like the 40K debt and everything. Like this is recent.
Yeah, this came a day ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think this is like a day ago. This the new hotness from Dr. Umar. Fellas, what is y'all thoughts?
I need a beat behind that shit and put that on the mixtape. Like this nigga just dropping line after line. I don't know, man. It's like it's funny. He's selling himself now to the ladies.
Like,
yeah, I guess that is kind of.
And it's funny because he said $500 for a free lunch. I never heard nobody charge for something free.
Hey, listen, when it's in you, like that hustle, like if it's one thing Dr. Umar has, is that hustle.
I'm just thinking of the logistics, because if it's a $500 donation, she can pick any restaurant. He might be coming out the pocket $250, and then now he only economics. He only bringing home $200 to $300 each dinner, and then who knows how long he got to spend on the date. So
but that was $200-300 he wasn't gonna get if they ain't get the dinner with the doctor.
And I'm guessing he needed in cash because he said all his bank accounts.
Damn.
He gotta get some quick money, man.
Damn it, boy.
He gonna get it too.
It's just another example of capitalism at its finest.
But I don't know why he playing with people, man. Because that man get like $20K just to speak for speaking engagements and stuff and appearances. So I don't know if it's a show or what, but Dr. Umar don't got no problem getting no money out here. Like, so unless he just squandering it or whatever. But if it's $40K he need, that's like 3-4 appearances for him minimum. So I don't know what Dr. Umar up to. It's funny though, and I can't be mad at him because I ain't giving him my money. So if some girls want to pay for his lunch, then shit, I hope they film it because I want to see what they talk about.
Johnny, are you letting your prisoner that lives with you, your live-in romantic prisoner, I don't remember all the ones he went with. Would you allow your lady to go on a date with or the free lunch? My bad, it's a free lunch with Dr. Umar. You and him are not the same, according to him.
Nah, she ain't paying that money if she ain't spent that money on dinner with your boy. Like, you ain't just like if you ain't took me to $500 dinner, why you spending $500 to eat with him?
But if she did take you to Sea Grill or she took you to STK,
hey man, if she spent it like that, if she just got it,
you ain't got no problem with your lady.
If she just got it and we done been there, yeah, man, hey, you got it. You know.
Oh damn, you cool with your lady?
Bring the solution back, babe. Let me know what he's talking about.
You might get him a girl like Steve Harvey did, and she come in and that $500 is an investment. She get in like I can make you more money type shit.
Well, that'd be the smartest thing if you are a woman that really got some hustle to you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, Dr. Umar, a walking lick, marketed properly, he probably can't manage his own money. It's a lot of brilliant people that can't, and throughout history that just fail in the finance department, or die broke. Some of our greatest heroes. So,
I will agree. He definitely is a walking lick when it comes to like marketing and him being able to, like, with if a really smart marketing mind, like you can make a lot of money off of Dr. Umar.
He ain't done nothing devastating. Like the school's still redeemable if he can actually get that off the ground. Niggas will forget about how long it took, and he ain't did nothing crazy. So some woman better get up in there and like put the nigga in some movies or what, make some books or something, because Dr. Umar can sell something.
Oh yeah, if it's one thing he can do, because he's been selling a school that hasn't yet been built completely or been finished yet for about like 7 to 8 years. He has a strong faction that's going for it. You said what?
They becoming a household name and internationally known. I know it was something. I like these niggas watch this nigga in Africa laughing at him and shit.
Oh
like,
no, they do. But truthfully, like you said, it's almost a household name because the white chicks know Dr. Umar also.
Oh yeah.
Like the white chicks, they actually do know Dr. Umar. So like it's a very, very interesting thing. G, talk to us.
Man, this nigga he's clearly in it as an entertainer at this point. He's a entertainivist, or okay. He's not really a full activist. He really like the WWE activist at this point. Like he's clearly a character. He's playing into the character. He's almost like a Stephen A. Smith Pan-Africanism. He's just like a voice, a character. And he's leaning in. I think he also understands social media clearly, right? He knows what's going to trend, go viral. That's going to make him some money just by having his platforms go viral, etc. So look, man, staying on theme with the show tonight, it's an example of capitalism. You know what I'm saying? This is a quote unquote community activist trying to capitalize on what he can to make money. And so that seems to be the name of the game. And seems like somebody like himself might be more of a capitalist than a socialist himself, given what he's doing out there to try and raise some money.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I dig it. I dig it. So nonetheless, I guess if we continue to move on, there's been a request, but it has been, I guess, a bit of a TikTok phenomenon or a TikTok conversation. We do tend to deal within some version of the diaspora, whether healthy or unhealthy. And it seems that there's a big part of Black America that is now realizing that there's Black Scottish people. And it's been kind of like a viral TikTok thing. So I'll play some of it, see if y'all have any reactions.
Much. Like, I'm so happy that you're intrigued to know what it's like to live in Scotland and stuff, and you've found my TikTok and you've found other people's TikToks. So I've seen all your questions and you guys have so much, like, you are so intrigued to find out so much, so I'll try to answer as much as I can. Like, probably not in this video, probably in another video or something. But like, let me just like kind of start off by explaining how I'm actually even here. So like, I was born in 2003, so I'm 22 now. A lot of families were moving like to different, like dispersed in their countries, like in those years, but I can't remember, like I literally can't mind what was happening during that time. Like I literally can't remember.
Keep going.
Yeah, what is it with all these Americans just finding out about Black Scottish content creators? This is genuine real. Like, I feel so special right now. I'm looking through some of my comments and some of them are typing, but y'all exist. And I'm just like, aye, we do. There's Black cunts in Scotland, mate, just normal cunts like me and you. Like, I'm flicking through some of my comments and some of them are still...
My friend was saying that Americans have found Scottish Black people, and then I look at my comments and they're literally flooding my comments about talking about we found you. Girl, I've been here. We've been here. Oh, for real, but we've actually been here for years. Just no one recognizes us or our talents. Nothing. My friend was saying that.
So I've just found out that the Americans have discovered that Black Scottish people exist. So if you come across my page, hey Pookie, we're the best.
Oh shit! This is hey Pookie just then? That's crazy. I haven't seen it.
Who's calling that? Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit? Who?
Explain this to me, right? Explain to me why Scottish school holidays are a bit of a washout. Right, it's been all right this year, but it's been a bit of a washout. And then we get to the guys.
So
it's crazy that niggas is dressing like these Scottish niggas with these skirts and shit. It's like when that nigga had his little skirt on and his vest. I swear I see niggas doing that over here in Atlanta, bro. I swear on everything.
Hey, they be in the
Scottish niggas got kilts on. Them niggas in Atlanta got on skirts.
Listen, I'm gonna be quiet, but yeah, the diaspora channel was arguing about that when inside the Discord, and I was like, but yeah, fellas, talk to me. These Black Scottish people. One thing I will say is that when I hear, especially like Scottish, I need a translator. I almost need the little words on the screen because I really can't understand.
You just gotta let your ears get settled into it. You know, it's like somebody rapping almost. But I don't know. They got to give us a break because like don't nobody go to Scotland, not even white people. So like you don't really hear about Scotland. So it's like, of course, you don't think about black people there.
Scotland's barely a country. Like it's in like the UK. Like I don't know if it's England, Great Britain.
It's over there with it's over there with like Ireland and
Ireland
shit.
and all of that stuff. But them niggas sound like Harry Potter though. So if you ever watched the Harry Potter movie, it sounds pretty,
I mean, but it's black people everywhere. You know that was born somewhere. It's Chinese black people. It's all type of niggas. But I mean, it ain't our fault. Y'all ain't popping.
Yeah, man, they got their little 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck about them niggas, man.
Now we'll be on to Black Australians next week because they probably got an even cooler accent.
Well, they call them Aboriginals. They got a fire name.
Nah, the indigenous people they different, and most of them been wiped out for the most part or pushed out where the kangaroos at in the bush. But yeah, they did them bad in Australia. they got them up out of there.
Gotcha. My bad, fellas. I'm over here trying to find that Amanda Seals rant that she went on that some of the FBAs really loved, but couldn't.
She's talking about how you coming over here undermining niggas.
Yeah, it dealt a little bit within that. Yeah.
She was really sounding like the FBA queen. I was like, they might adopt her.
Only that part though, because she also said that race is just a construct. I think that part and what was it? It was the reparations thing. I think that she had them with that, but she also had some anti-FBA points as well, which I thought was
but she's definitely more. I feel like more moderate now, and I can see it happening during the election when I think she got dissed by. She got dissed by Kamala team some kind of way. Forgot she got dissed and turned off by the Democrats. She's been in the middle ever since. I think that's why a lot of people can resonate with her right now.
All right, I think I found it, fellas. I'll play a little bit of this. This is when she does her full monologue.
This nigga was looking crazy.
As soon as you hear his voice, you gotta tell him that.
American, as the daughter of an nothing, not the truth. It's not the truth. It's not the nothing you say is actually the truth. Nothing. You're not even American. You're not even a Black American. As the daughter of an immigrant, it is imperative that Black people from other places understand the disparate difference that they exist from Black people in the United States. It is not the same. Period. And ultimately, the best effort that we can do as a diaspora is to lead in understanding, not in judgment. So when I am talking to somebody from Sudan, from the Congo, from Angola, I am listening to understand their experience, not to undermine it. And I refuse to allow anybody from Grenada, from Angola, from any other place to come and try to undermine the experience of Black Americans.
All right, fellas. We'll leave this as the last part of the icebreakers. What is y'all thoughts? She's spitting. It's misguided. I don't know what y'all thoughts. Talk to.
I mean, I think that specifically, what she said needs to be echoed loud and clear. Like I think what she said was on point. It wasn't like hyperbole or anything. It was on point, you know. And I have to say, like, you know, my wife is actually a fan. We've seen her live when she's done some comedy shows here. So we've seen her live. I'm not the biggest Amanda Seals fan personally, but I have to admit, I was surprised by the clips. When I saw that it was her versus conservatives, I was like, here she go leaning into that Democratic bullshit again, like being that mouthpiece for some folks. But nah, she definitely, I think, showed that maybe she's got potential for some growth. Pause. But I do think it's weird to like self-diagnose yourself as autistic. I do think that's weird. Like
she did it.
Yeah, she like self-diagnosed and doesn't have like an official clinical diagnosis, but she embraces being autistic and on the spectrum. I think if you really gonna like lead into that neurodivergent community, you should like not just like
Just go ahead
claim
and
it.
get the diagnosis.
Yeah, like yeah.
Even though I mean that's like getting the diagnosis is kind of bullshit too. Like,
Why
yeah,
they ain't why they ain't sit Candace Owens in front of her? Like I want
that's the conversation I would love actually. Yeah.
They would that would be crazy.
Yeah, I would actually love that, to be honest.
We need more talks like that. Like not to pit them against each other, but like I think they both have, great minds, but unlikable personalities to different factions, But both of them be right about a lot of shit. And they've been wrong about stuff too.
Yeah, and they have some overlap too.
But I following them both, I see growth. I see people like learning and reading and coming back stronger. Like, they both are growing in their respective intellectual fields. So I would love to see them too in the room.
To be honest, I would have paid a ticket to see the debate.
Maybe throw Jasmine Crockett in there too, and
oh shit.
No.
That'd be too turned to like
not Jasmine Crockett. Now you gonna muck it up. You just gonna
I'll
turn
be
it
honest,
into a
what
shit
they
show.
have to do with that one, they have to have like it had to be boxing to where
like
halftime
debate during a WNBA game to be their biggest ratings ever.
Oh,
in between the dildos, yeah.
WNBA need to hire me. Let the dildos go, man. Like that's the best promo to niggas. Like the WNBA are just like women. They just be blocking their blessings and shit,
The WNBA, they're key. They got a platform. They got to get the stud buzz right. They the funniest, most entertaining thing the league provide. The stud. Shout out to the stud buzz. They funny as hell.
What's the
Courtney Williams, point guard for the Lynx. And
was that the ones that got denied at the club?
Exactly. Yeah, they be live streaming. Yeah, bro. Their content is pretty funny. Their content is pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie to you. They be stat ranking. They was like, okay, what's the power straights? They didn't rank the straight bitches in the league. Like, yo, they be talking about their own little crushes. Like one of them got a crazy crush on Skylar Diggins, and like, yo, it's crazy, bro.
That's kind of wild to like announce that while you still got to play with him. Imagine if a gay nigga was in the league.
Bro,
NBA
a wild place. It's crazy.
Gave you 20.
But shout out to the stud buzz. Their content hilarious.
So what, they got a show or something called that?
It's a live stream. It's like I know they do a live stream, but I just be seeing the clips on social media.
Okay, yeah, I saw that clip of them not getting in the club, and that shit was funny. But yeah, I would check it out. I mean, they need something like that. I mean, that might bring them some more viewers, especially the women, because women. That people don't talk about the women not supporting that shit for real. Like not on the numbers that they could be. Not like they supporting Love Island and Real Housewives and all this shit. Like if they did that to the WNBA games, they can get paid what they want. But women don't be watching that shit for real.
Well, it's because women aren't like naturally inclined. Well, let me not say naturally inclined, but they don't be watching basketball. Like the majority of women don't watch basketball at all. So they be stretching to watch WNBA basketball.
Yeah, they need to add some drama.
Listen, make it a soap opera. Turn it into WWE. You'll get some fans. All right, so yeah, I know A Black spoke to it. Johnny, what's your thoughts on it?
No, it's good to see Amanda. She then came a long way. So like I said, I sat and I ain't watched the whole thing, but I watched little parts of it, and I was definitely surprised at kind of some of the angles she took, and it does seem like she has kind of centered herself from some of the points she's been at in the past. So it was pretty surprising for me. I haven't really I kind of tuned out Amanda Seales a few years ago, and I just kind of ain't really tapped back in. This is the first time I really watched in a while, and it was pretty impressive.
I couldn't remember why I disliked her for a little bit, but I feel like she recently did something on Shannon Sharp that I can't remember what it was, but like she just has like moments where she'll just pull up and do something kind of wild. But yeah, unbiasedly, I thought that she came through and she did a thing. Like she was way more on point than I would have ever thought. But then as she starts like breaking down some of her history, where I think her dad's like a Harvard MD or some shit like that. her mom is like well educated, and I think she's a foreigner as well. But you can tell that she actually comes from a really solid educational background, and it shined inside these debates. And you can tell that she had some version of like debate training, whether that was
she's got a master's in racial studies, I think, as well.
Nah, she's definitely not aloof inside any way, shape, or form. I'm not even saying all that to say this. Good segue to the main topic. We can start at the top and kind of like move our way to socialism, but I'll throw this question out there to y'all. Is Black liberation realistic through capitalism?
I mean, I think we living in the midst of it now, so we got the example of capitalism. We don't really know of an alternative other than that, but what's liberation to niggas? I guess.
And I guess, well, do y'all want to answer? What do we want to like come up with a common idea?
Yeah, I'll answer it from my point of view. It's definitely the question is it possible through capitalism, right? Black liberation.
Is it realistic?
Realistic. I think it is.
Capitalism.
I think it is, because I think a big part of liberation is owning your means of production and being able to have that control, being vertically integrated. And that's what capitalism is really about, like owning the means of production. So I think it's definitely realistic under capitalism for sure.
Realistic, and I guess I would say how so? Typically, even like I'll leave it that broad. Then we can kind of talk through it. So you said it is realistic. How so?
Because I think part of being liberated is owning your means of production, and you do that through capitalism.
And you think that this can be done on a community, like to where this impacts the majority of Black people inside of
I guess this is where
I know individuals definitely can own, like you said, like verticals where they can do the entire thing, and it can impact their family. It'll be generational wealth would be fire. But speaking about like the majority of Black people, because typically when we speak about Black liberation, it's not the idea of like one being able to pull themselves up and assimilate or be the token, but as much as if we like lean into the socialism ideal, it's the idea of like raising the entire basement to where there's a better baseline for everybody. And I throw it back to you to
I don't know if I agree that socialism raises the baseline for everybody. I'm not sure if that's like it evens the playing field, but I don't know if it raises the floor, if you get what I'm saying. Like it tries to keep.
I wouldn't. I guess like for me, if whether you look at like democratic socialism or Marxist socialism, generally speaking, it's providing all things that if you are poor and distraught and they exploit it inside capitalism, you wouldn't have. Education, healthcare, like you can just kind of run down.
But we get that now under capitalism, not except healthcare, but we get education.
But it would raise the basement. Say it again.
There's a lot of communist countries that were still poor.
Well, there's a difference between communism and socialism, for sure.
Or even socialism. I mean, I think a lot of time, like when they started moving out of that basement was when they brought capitalistic practices to a lot of these even socialistic.
Yeah, like China's the most socialist country out there, arguably. They got extreme poverty.
But when they started moving, when China started moving from being one of the poorest countries to one of the richest countries, it was based on like them opening up economic zones and embracing capitalism.
Yeah, again, I think so. So when you understand what basement means, right? By like the floor. So here in America, poor, I mean, not like the basement is being
we got the best kind of poor.
Yeah,
cool. Like if we just say the basement, that would be poor as in like no housing, no healthcare, no food, you're out in the street. And inside a socialist version of this, where like whether let's just say democratic socialism, or you can, even if we go Marxist socialism, the idea would be that the minimum would be that everybody is afforded housing, food, and healthcare, where there's no like fully person that's out on the street. Like that's where raising the basement would be at, where the lowest you can be would still be having a house, having healthcare, and having food. Like generally speak, like that's the general selling point of socialism.
But so we have all of that now though under capitalist America.
No, you can have all of those things. You're not entitled to those things. And like even the idea of like the entitlement programs that we have here in America are based off of a socialist ideal. But today you can still be poor, as in like completely homeless, not a dollar to your name, not be able to eat, and not be able to have healthcare at all. Like those things, like the basement is lower, but the ceiling's way higher. Like that's kind of like the capitalist bargain. It was like the basement's lower, but the ceiling's higher. So you get sold on a dream. That's not. Well, we getting too far into it.
But would you rather be poor here or poor in the UK?
Well, I think that the ideal, and right now I can argue like whatever point, but I wouldn't push it to the idea of like, would I rather be poor here or poor in Afghanistan or poor somewhere else? The idea, if you go Fred Hampton, if you go anybody that Bernie Sanders, if you go anybody that's looking to bring socialism to America, is raising the basement in America in general. So it's not like the comparison of other countries, but like changing the way that America works, where you'll bring down the ceiling and you'll raise the basement. And that's how I would look at it. But
I think in principle it could work, but I think there's always like.
But I think right now we're kind of unpacking socialism before we answer the capitalism question.
But we answered it. We said that it's possible, but your response was something about the like it's not possible because it's a lower ceiling or a lower floor, which I don't think means that it's not realistic. If you want liberation.
Oh no, I was asking you how would you do it? And I gave like an appeal to socialism, but I was really asking you the question of, like you said, it's realistic through capitalism. And I was saying that how would that be done for the majority of people to where they would own the means of production, the majority, because then it starts sounding socialist.
So you know how like in corporate America, you have publicly traded companies and people own shares and they're stakeholders or shareholders. So okay. We can go buy some Apple stock, have a share to own some of the company. So in my head, you can build businesses and you can help your community get equity into these things where they have ownership, grow as the company grows, similar to the stock market. So it's like if the model of
so what would be an example of that would impact like Black America to push towards liberation? So that all Black people would be investing inside. Well, I don't know if it's like equal shares that you're saying, or if like the stock market where you just invest some and you get dividends. Like, what would be an example of that?
If let's say, for example, the Black church and any of these, Black fraternities, Black sororities, whatever institutions where we tend to find a lot of Black folks in one place, right? We can think of a couple of examples, but I'm thinking off the top like church, HBCUs, Greek organizations, right?
Okay.
If we actually, this is the thing here, we don't really have a lot of examples of like Black owned publicly traded companies that are on the stock market, but the ones that we do, if we strategically as a communities aligned with these companies pushing, so it's like if I'm the church, instead of trying to collect for the building fund, we can set up brokerage accounts and have them contribute and get equity through these programs. It's like we can redirect how we influence people to spend their money instead of having people like, oh, let's donate for this cause. No, let's put the pool and money together as a community to help a fellow business out, gain equity in that. And as the business grows, we'll get the kickbacks and things like that. So I think it's possible to happen under capitalism, but it would take a collective group mentality to make it work, because we see other groups do it in the name of capitalism. We see other groups come to America and find liberation under this capitalistic structure where they take care of their people, take advantage of the capitalist American markets, make their money, help their communities, and keep it 100 like that. So I think it's definitely realistic. We see other communities do it in America all the time.
I think what you described was almost a little closer to like a socialist like solution, because like even in some of the like, because I was doing a little research. I mean, like there's some small examples of like socialism working, but they're usually smaller countries like Singapore, Norway, and what they usually have, they have
the Nordic countries are typically like one of the examples that people point to.
But they use it off of like a system like that where it's I wouldn't say capitalist, but it's a public fund towards a national industry, and however well the industry does, and it competes out there in the global market, but the kickback comes to the people, and it's based off of industry. And so all the people are,
and with most of those
invested in the
countries as
industry.
well, what it is that their taxes are way higher, but like their entitlements are higher as well. So like maybe it's Sweden or Norway, one of them. Like I think if you make over, I think income tax doesn't exist until you make over 60K. But when you make over 60K, it's at 50%, and like everybody pays like a 32% like federal whatever that goes into this. But with that said, again, like I think they have like 4-day work weeks. Everybody has free healthcare. Like everybody's entitled to like housing, XYZ. That like these are the countries that people typically point at when they speak about like a version of democratic socialism working.
But it's a lot of and I'd have to look into how a lot of this stuff got set up. But the problem with America and setting up those systems here is there's always going to be like a big player, a big fish at the end of it that's going to stand to make profit, and it's kind of hard to, unless the country just nationalizes a lot of those things. It's hard to like get a system like that when you already have capitalism set up. So I think like
right, but I guess Johnny, to go to the like to the meat of like the question that we was asking, because we keep spinning it back to socialism. Would that big fish allow for like, because eventually it starts to sound like trickle down economics, right? Where whether it's like this black big fish now allows for the entire community to eat off and start some kind of like an equity fund that would benefit all black people, or does that person do the capitalist thing and exploit labor and continue to get more greedy and become a billionaire now? Become the first trillionaires. Yeah.
I mean that's human nature, but and to bring it back to capitalism, that's why I said I think, and we're talking about America here, where we're 13% of the population. Any socialism things is set up is we're not.
And Johnny, stay like just stay on capitalism right now. I don't want to, because we're pinging around a lot. Right. We're speaking about liberation and capitalism. Can capitalism liberate the majority of black people?
Well, let me ask this: Is liberation just having a home?
So, fellas, I guess let's pose the question: what does black liberation, if we was to make it succinct, what does that look like?
Well, I think freedom, as far as like being able to choose to a certain extent, where
are black people liberated already?
I think
you said freedom. Would you say yes or no?
I mean, I as a black person, and I can't speak for everybody, but I don't feel like my skin holds me back from doing the things that I want to do, where I want to go, no matter how dark it is, G. But
I ain't say nothing. Well, I don't know why you gotta talk to the light skinned nigga like that. I don't know why. I ain't even say that. You can go with that colorism. I ain't even say that to a nigga, man. Damn.
But I think we are free, because I mean, and I think a lot of the things that hold us back, like I think there was a point where our shackles were based on our color. But I think living in capitalism, the shackles have now become more socio-economic, more than anything, and that's why I do think the capitalism is something that could work for us, because it gives us all the tools, and we just have to play the game. We see where it works for other, immigrant communities. They come in, they have cooperative economics, and they're able to might not necessarily get to be at the top of those totem pole, but you're able to create a sustainable community and sustainable living for yourself in this country. And we've seen other people do it, so I definitely think we could do it too.
Hey, Black, do you think that Black people are liberated currently? And if not, what does liberation look like?
I mean, I would say no. If you look at the facts, liberation is freedom, but it's also self-sufficient, self-sustaining freedom, and it's being able to do what you want, loving it, and it fulfilling you. So do the majority of us do what we love? Do we own where we are in this world? I would say no. I feel like we are not enslaved fully. We have a level of freedom that we probably haven't experienced in generations, but fully free, fully liberated, not until you can decolonize minds and kind of shake from the traumas and the things that create toxic patterns in our community, then we're not fully liberated.
To what A Black was saying, I think that is being the exploited class liberation, because of that class always exists within capitalism.
I think that's a
go ahead, Johnny.
Or I'm gonna say, are we because I get it, but I think a lot of the problems you speak of about doing what you love, they're American problems. Would you say most American people are free, or are we all on this hamster wheel outside of race?
And not even doing what you love, but being satisfied with what you do, because there are people.
That's something missing, not just in our community though.
Right, and again, we can the broad question is going to be American, but we're also speaking Black. But yes, I agree. Both things can exist, and you can make an argument if the American citizen is liberated or not, or if we're enslaved to capitalism. But right now we're speaking about Black liberation. G, talk to us, brother.
If so, from what I heard, Johnny and A Black, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard both of y'all mention in the terms of being liberated, it was about owning where you are and that self-sufficiency. Am I off in hearing? Did y'all speak to that?
I didn't necessarily. A Black spoke to that.
A Black did. Okay.
I was just talking about freedom of movement and access, and there's nothing like that where a white person can go that I can't go in today's world.
So this is why I say capitalism is realistic, because when you talk about freedom of movement and access, that's like a free market. For example, if you have an idea, which Black people have a lot of great ideas under a socialist society, you wouldn't be able to help your community because you had such a great idea. The state would own your idea and then figure out a plan to figure out how that's distributed, even though it's your idea. And then same thing, when you talk about that owning where you stay, under socialism, there isn't privately owned land. You would have to be allocated land from some government entity or agency. And my feeling is that if we gonna have that liberation in a country where we know we're historically always discriminated against from the government, a government that still owes us reparations to this day, why would we want this government to then control how we get our resources with socialism? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why we would want this country to be socialist and think that it's going to help us. That I don't understand.
Right, but I guess to rebut what you're saying, especially if we're speaking not even directly Marxist Leninist socialism, but if we're going democratic socialism, if we look at America now, I think Black people have the lowest home ownership rate. So ownership isn't the thing that most Black people have already. And then the idea of ideas, there is a free market attachment that does deal with democratic socialism, but there is again higher taxation on your ideas. or things, but it's not you just completely give it over to the government per se.
When I'm talking, I guess when I'm talking socialism, I'm talking about the basic idea that the government owns the means of production. These variants of socialism versus capitalism, like we can have those nuances, but I'm speaking from the context of like no. Communism, the community owns. Communism, the government does not own. Under a communistic society, you don't even need a government because the community makes all the decisions. It's like a co-op. Socialism is when a centralized government or entity owns the productions and then they allocate the resources to their people. That's the difference there. And then with capitalism, the things can be owned privately versus owned by the government or the community. And so when I'm talking about socialism, I'm really talking about it from the lens of the government is in control of the resources. That's like the underlying thing that I associate with socialism.
Right. Which, again, I like there are different camps of socialism. That's why I do try to keep separating them. Where like Norway is a version of democratic socialism. I think that China leans to be a little bit more Marxist socialism, and I think that there's a big difference in those things as well. But yeah, nonetheless, sounds like we're inside. We have a really fun discussion in front of us. G, I think you sent in a couple memes, and this probably be a good time to kind of use this as a launching point to the conversation. So I'll push play on these, and let's talk about it.
Any of those three. So we call ourselves capitalists, but we clearly have a lot of socialist programs. Social Security, publicly funded schools, we have a publicly funded military, we have the fire department. None of those things have private ownership. And we're perfectly fine with that. Then you go to Europe, well, they've just added a couple more things, healthcare and education, that they say, those are big ones, those are needs. And we all of a sudden viscerally react and say, no, that's communism. No, it's not. It's socialism. It's socialism. No, it's the capitalist countries exist on a spectrum. Remember how we said nobody fits in a neat little box. No country is all capitalist. No country is all socialist, and certainly no country is all communist. You have countries like China. They are socialist countries that strive towards communism. But they clearly are not communists because they have a political party. They have a very strong central government.
And I think she got one more.
Back to our spectrum, communism we explained. If you look at colonized things like communism and socialism, when most Americans couldn't even give you the definition of those things. It's just a big fear-mongering, they take your cars, they take your house, and that's not true at all. So what is socialism? Because most people assume it's interchangeable with communism, but it's not. Back to our spectrum, communism we explained. If you look at socialism, the central difference is with socialism, they don't assume that everyone will just play nicely in the sandbox. There is a government, and that government, that state, owns all of the means of production. So instead of it being communally owned, like in communism, it's owned by a central state who will make sure they divvy it out in a fair manner to all of the constituents, okay? You have one party, one political party, as opposed to zero in communism. Socialism, we have one political party, that is the state that owns everything. You are still allowed to own private property, like your house or your car. You just can't own the means of production. So a simple example might be you can own a t-shirt, but you can't own the factory that produces the t-shirt. The state owns that. And whatever comes from that is then divvied out. They decide how many t-shirts you can have, if that makes sense.
All right, fellas. Let's talk about it.
No, I think that's a simple breakdown.
Johannes Kepler, a very famous astronomer.
There we go. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's a simple breakdown. I think it's something. It's good to see it in a chart form like that too, because like people talk about it and we get these words get thrown around, and it's good to have a concise definition for when we're talking about what we're talking about, because it is complicated. There's tons of different governments out there. If you do a little research, uh each government set up a little differently. I guess that's why they bring the spectrum to it. But one thing we've talked about is like balance is important. Like you want to have checks and balances, as far as like capitalism is what makes a lot of economies run. It's the it's the big ticket. But that socialism, as far as checks and balances, it helps keeps things fair. And I think having some balance of the two is ultimately the best thing.
Gotcha. Um, G, did you want to add, or I can go to this next question?
No, I'm good.
All right, so staying on capitalism, I see we do keep kind of getting hooked, but I promise y'all, it's leading its way down. Is Black America still enslaved by capitalism?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they talk about how much we spend and our spending power versus how much we put back into our own community. So I think capitalism can be good when it's fair and when it's smart, but I feel like if you're not circulating your money back the right way, it's not work. It's not good for you. It might be good for somebody else, but for us, it's not working because we're not circulating the capital. The key point of that word is capital, and we giving ours to other people.
I disagree. I think it's not the capitalism that's keeping us in prison. I think it's our lack of understanding of how to work the tool. I think it's a system, it's a game, and the game ain't doing nothing wrong to us. We just got to learn how to play the game better. And I think that's the thing that's holding us back, is our lack of doing the right things within the game. The game is the game. I think capitalism is what it is.
But with capitalism, naturally, there's a hierarchy that has to exist, right? So rising costs, debts, and low savings. Does that keep America, if not just Black America, enslaved? Modern jobs in the fact that minimum wage has not raised accordingly with the inflation of what it costs to actually own a home, what it costs to own a car. You in the sales business. Like, is this not another form of quote unquote bondage of some sort?
I mean, it's a hamster wheel for sure. But I think there are benefits, and I'm saying, especially like if we're talking specifically Black people, I think where we're at, and like I think we could still raise, our floor, so to say, using this tool called capitalism. I don't think it's necessarily, gonna get us all the way to the ceiling or to the roof, but I think we still have a long way to go. That we
It can raise the floor for all Black people collectively.
I think it could as a tool. Yes, I think that if we used it the right way, if we did the right thing, if we switched our mindset and were more cooperative, I think why wouldn't it work for us?
Well, I guess if I was to try and answer really quickly, I think that the argument would be that Black people have almost intentionally, through America's action, been the basement and they exploit it. So it's like in the hierarchy, they've used Black people, and even when Black people have attempted to find ingenuitive ways to get out of that, they made sure that within the hierarchy of capitalism, Black America has stayed exactly where it was. Whether it's like the forced slave labor or the exploitation of ideas, exploitation of music, XYZ. That'll be the answer to it. Like, you asked the question.
Yeah, I mean that's stuff happened in the past. Like I think there's less.
What's currently happening, right? Like if you look at like even our athletes, they make pennies to what the billionaires make. If you look at music, they make, like, the artist makes pennies to what the Lucien Granger and anybody that's not making the music, but that's one step in front of them makes. I think that typically we do tend to say that Black culture gets exploited and profited by a bunch of different groups of people, right?
I mean, of course, we live in a capitalistic society. There's gonna be people that's eating, off the top. But as far as like, there are things within capitalism, and even not just capitalism. Maybe I don't want to say that word, but going like we've talked about, like how education Like going to school, getting education, and playing within this system. Just doing those certain steps can help raise your floor from here to here. And if we adopted these practices on a broad level, it would automatically raise our floor. And that's just all I'm saying. Within the concept of capitalism, I think there's still room for us to grow. Is it perfect? Is it a perfect system? Will we, get true? Maybe not. But I'm saying, do we still have room to grow and help better ourselves within this system? I absolutely think so.
So you think that we can move so we're not specifically enslaved?
Or to not necessarily be the bottom floor. I think there are things we've learned. I think there's been a lot of oppression to where and with the knowledge that we have today, the technology that we have today, if we really put our mind, I don't see how they would be able to stop us again with everything that we know. Like it would be super egregious. And they can't bomb us like they did Tulsa. There's things they've done in the past that's just not gonna happen again.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
They sending them troops to
yeah, they can find ways to still fuck up communities, but I like in terms of being enslaved by capitalism, I would say to some degree, because the fact is, when you are a working class people, which I think the data would reflect that the Black Americans are a majority working class people when you look at the amount of income that they make or that we make as a whole. That does keep you enslaved under capitalism because of the fact that you are a worker, not an owner, and your wages will always be subject to what the owners are willing to pay, and your ability to earn will also be based off of where you can work. So because of that, I feel like there is an enslavement piece, but I will also argue the social services provided keep Black folks enslaved. Because Malice got a bar that's so hard on that JID project where he was like,
oh yeah,
Section 8 living treat them like they timeshares or some shit like that. Like I was like, oh yeah, that's a hard bar right there, because that's how niggas treat Section 8. They treat that Section 8 like timeshare. Well, I was like, oh, that's
no, for sure. And again, we're gonna walk our way into socialism critique.
Can I, but I will say this: the one thing about capitalism, which is the saving grace versus the other things we talked about, is this is the one system that actually gives you a chance to actually do the thing.
I agree.
It's the only one that
Johnny.
You can actually own it. With the other ones, how would we get there?
I agree. I agree with that point.
Is it the myth of doing a thing in which it makes it easy to elevate a token? To get a quote unquote bourgeoisie that then is the control of what the Black populace does, to make sure that every once in a while you allow a token. And that's the critique of not just the American dream with Black people, but the American dream with all people, where I think statistically you live and die inside the class that you was born in on average, and then you have a small percentage of people that do move, but generally speaking the class system tends to stay fairly stable generation to generation. And that's where the idea of are we enslaved to capitalism, and is capitalism a myth? We get into corporatocracies, we get into there's a bunch of different words that we can use, but we have a call in, and I've been playing my best part as the resident socialist. But we have a real socialist here.
No, a real communist.
I don't know if Steve is a communist. I've heard him talk about socialism and socialist ideas, but I'll allow him to speak to it. But same question to you: is Black America enslaved by capitalism? Talk to us, brother.
I would say yes, and I would say you don't even have to go that far back. I mean, you can go back to Nixon. They literally wrote this stuff down of turning Black people, even if we're not gonna say socialism or communism, but turning Black people away from a revolutionary political worldview towards a more quote unquote, let's not use the word capitalism, but a word we used a lot, a phrase we hear used a lot, is Black business or Black entrepreneurship, or today's iteration of that might be Black excellence. What all of those is psyops to push us towards the theme that they actually want us to do. I kind of find it strange that people think the scary thing is doing the thing that the power structure actually wants you to do. Like niggas talking about they gonna open up 100 businesses. They are content with that. They understand that that's not a threat to the power structure. That's why every nigga who was talking about that in the 70s, he didn't get his head blown off. But the guy who was talking about something opposite of that is dead or had to flee the country. And I think that's a crazy trick bag to have us in, to think that the thing that they want us to do is actually the revolutionary thing. And you know, at some point, you don't have to go full board communist, socialist, whatever, because socialism is the moderate position. Like if you ask a communist, socialism is the compromising position. So even some things like the New Deal that FDR did, that was a compromise because of the encroaching growth of the Communist Party in the United States of America. It was a concession in order to save capitalism, because if he didn't, it would have been, at that point in time in history, it's after the Great Depression,
and by New Deal, you're speaking about the welfare program,
the creation of the welfare state,
entitlement programs.
And I think the issue that why people say the welfare state in America is a version of slavery, and I agree, because the welfare state in America is means tested. It's not a universal welfare state. In a world in which the welfare state is universal, it is then not a handcuff. Because it's not universal in America, it becomes a handcuff because it requires you to keep yourself below a certain threshold in order to keep getting these same entitlements. So our problem is not with the actual welfare state. Our problem is the way in which the welfare state is administered, which is very different from these European nations. And Europeans, I said this coming in the chat, they had the decency to steal from Africans and all over the world and give their citizens something. America just don't have no decency to steal and give us nothing.
You know why though? You know why I think that's the case, Steve? You know why I think that's the case is because I got this realization when I was living in the Netherlands. What we think of diversity and like versus over there, it's homogeneous. Like they literally, like in the Netherlands, when I talk to somebody that's like born and raised in the Netherlands, they can go back so many generations to a random town that's very rural where they know their family grew up and they come from this part of the country. So it's a very homogeneous population a lot of times in Europe, whereas over here it's all mixed up. So it's like, why would we fight and then share when over here the basis of its creation is everybody fighting to get their own piece of the pie.
And that's a fundamental issue of having that type of worldview, because we supposed to say being an American is a unifying ideal. Like that's supposed to be a unifying identifier. We are American. We live in America, whatever. And if that's not good enough, well then we might as well just throw our hands up and accept the reality that it is a race to the bottom. Like that is what it is. Like, because Johnny said, well, we can move ourselves up. Who do you want to put at the bottom then, Johnny? Who are you comfortable with being at the bottom?
Hey, Steve, this is how I look at it. Like, and like, motherfuckers don't care about putting us at the bottom. And so, like, if we got a race, why would we care about putting somebody else? If it's just about getting for self, and if we put ourselves, why does it matter who's at the bottom? We can,
because that's a continual, like, because then there's a even bigger group than you saying the same thing about you.
But it's not based on like population though. It's like you can have a small group and still move up in capitalism. It's not just about having voter rights.
I'm gonna tell you this right. I don't know if y'all been following the internet right now, but everybody is like on this like I hate Indians thing.
Oh, this I ain't heard this one. This is
like everybody's like on this like the Indians is taking. I'm from Dallas. Everybody on this like the Indians is taking over. Thing or whatever. small minority, right?
I've never heard this, Steve. What kind of algorithm you got? I didn't know that.
I ain't gonna lie, busted messed up my algorithm. But in Dallas, if you Google Dallas Indians right now, it's crazy trend right now, and it's probably because I'm from Dallas, so I get the Dallas stuff in mind.
Oh no, I think it's relevant here in Charlotte.
They got whole apartment complexes up here.
Yeah. If you go to like there's a certain section of university that like it's full. They definitely
like
are
New Delhi out there,
very specific, and like they running these little like especially banking, corporate jobs, little tech, but like they be in walking distance to Wells Fargo, the university, like the corporate
Creek area over there.
Like you see them walking to work, they walk back to work, and then afterward, I mean. Never mind. I'm about to go into a tirade that's not necessary.
You sound like one of them dudes on the algorithm.
I'm about to go into a tirade that was not necessary.
You talking about like 4:30 p.m.
Yeah, like it'd be hard to get your car to your parking spot. Like all the ladies, they be walking around, they got the kids and the black and not the black men, the men, they be open. I remember living in an apartment and like if there's one thing about them, they was gonna go walking and they was gonna be
sandals with the ashy
heel. All right, man.
Indians and Africans love some damn open toes with no kind of conditioning on them damn dogs, man.
And fellas, I don't want to stay here too long. I do want to keep walking down a little bit of some of the questions. So I'll throw to A Black. A Black, talk to us. Just moving the conversation forward a little bit. Just introducing the idea of socialism. Would socialism have helped, if not saved, the black family?
I don't know if it'll help or not. I think Johnny mentioned we just kind of being the game and us, just having to learn how to play it, which I agree to an extent of financial literacy, a lot of things that we've been kind of collectively held behind in. But
so let me frame it like this. So these are some of the things that will come with socialism. So the idea of like with universal housing, healthcare, education, childcare, be a benefit to the black community, generally speaking.
I think what I was going to say was if the game is rigged, then it's only so much they're going to allow it to benefit the black community. Like we might have the illusion of opportunity and can do all the things, but it's still rigged against us. Like no matter how high you climb or how much money you make or how much education you get, like they still box you out of their society at certain points. So it's like if you switch to socialism, if you still have a dominant race or a dominant class over you, it's still going to be the same in a different way because they're going to make sure it only benefits you to a level to keep you at the level that you at, So socialism, capitalism, if we black in America, nothing going to benefit us fully. We just going to have to survive like we always do and find a way to make it work. So we'll make socialism work. We'll make whatever work. But benefiting us fully, if it was going to happen, it would have happened.
Got you. And I guess y'all, why do y'all think that black revolutionaries tended to lean socialist and promote socialist ideals? And that tended to be their end goal or solution for the black community. When you look at like Fred Hampton, you look at Huey Newton, you look at even Martin Luther King before he passed with the Poor People's March. I think maybe even W.E.B. Du Bois. It tends to end up ending in a socialist push. Johnny.
I mean, and I think sometimes like the socialists, it might have been framed as socialist, but even if you look at like the Black Panther Party, like the free breakfast and all of that stuff, that was more cooperative economics or small scale socialism. It wasn't like broad socialism or socialism for it is more community.
The Rainbow
Like,
Coalition was a
I'm talking about
socialist.
the Panthers. I'm talking about specific.
That's the Panthers.
The Panthers was
Fred
more
Hampton
to
was part of the
more
Panthers.
extreme than socialists. The Panthers were avowed Maoist. They were even more. They thought we should violently take all of the property from the property owners. Like,
Well,
that's
depending, like if you go Marxist, they think that it's supposed to happen through violence in either way. I think that's like the whole Vanguard shit.
like,
But let's keep it at.
Well, I was gonna answer the other question because y'all right. I mean, like, because I wanted to answer the other question about socialism.
Oh, my bad, Johnny.
Because I don't think it's really worked for us as far as like when we see like the social services and like the welfare system, the small program they put for us. We see how it was a program designed not to allow us to come up, but to actually kind of hold us in a certain place. So I don't necessarily know if socialism would allow us to you was talking about how capitalism people don't rise from class to class. I don't know if that's a thing in socialism either. I think if you get in a socialist society, wherever you're put at, you're just going.
Oh no, it's definitely not like a. The idea is to flatten it, not that it would be like you can. The idea of mobility would be minimal inside a socialist society, but you just wouldn't have like the bigger drastic change from like the top of the pyramid and the bottom of the pyramid. Like more people would pretty much be at the bottom, mean like the middle of the pyramid
class. Yeah.
But in order to believe in socialism, you would have to have so much faith in the government. The issue I have is I do not trust the government. I do not see the government as a positive force to help, that's here to help me. I see the government as a protection racket that collects my money in exchange for protection from invasion of foreign countries and from each other. But this is what I don't understand. So people who believe in socialism, they, as a minority group in America, will a socialist government help a black minority in America? I don't have any faith that that's the case, because I see the only.
But Chuck, doesn't that answer itself? I don't think that they would have a choice but to help them if the median is to help.
Okay, but okay, so as the government taxes more and subsidizes more, that means that individuals and our families have less and less money. We pay more and more money to the state. So this kind of redistribution is not a redistribution.
Rich for sure.
But okay, this type of redistribution is not a redistribution of free money from the rich to the poor. It's just a redistribution of power from the individual to the state, because all of this requires an apparatus of coercion, and for the government has to have more power to collect your money and to punish you if you don't agree. So I see it as a transfer of power from the individual to the state and taking money away from my family to give to the state. This is why I'm against it. Go ahead.
One thing I think we need to clarify though, Q, is like, because to Chuck's point, I think a lot of us, when we say socialism, we do associate it with the idea that the government is in control. Whereas when we talk about activists like Fred Hampton, who did have socialist beliefs and was against capitalism, he also wasn't like saying the government needs to take care of us. He was saying that we as a community need to take care of each other. And I think that's why the activists don't, the question was like, why do these activists end up, in these situations? I think it's because their type of socialism is the type of socialism that is a threat to the main society. When you can actually galvanize and mobilize communities to come together and actually work together when they're all poor and struggling, but they put that aside and say, you know what, let's work together and move through this. That is not good for big government. So I think that's like the key difference here in terms of like how activists tend, like Black Panther Party, etc. It's very community-based socialism, not government leaning on a private government to handle things.
You don't think socialism would have a negative impact on the incentives to work hard? Why should I work hard if I'm just going to get the same income as everybody else? I think there, the reason why there's income inequality because not everybody is equally productive. In a capitalist society, there is an interest to be productive because you get more income and more a greater slice of the pie. But if everybody gets the same slice of the pie, then that removes the incentive to work hard, to to get an education and to achieve the best that you can. There's no reason to in a socialist economy. Go ahead.
Steve.
Why is there rich people in China then?
I think China's a mixed economy. I think they have socialists and capitalists.
Okay,
it's
so
called democratic socialism, though.
They got special economic zones where they allow capitalism.
So if you're talking about Hong Kong, basically they have no real control over Hong Kong. Or if you're talking about Macau, they basically have no real control over that. If you're talking about Tibet, they don't have no control over that. And Taiwan is basically a
UK,
a US outpost. So like if you're talking about those economic free zones, the rest of mainland China is under the control of the CCP. And also I am a guy who believes it's more of a spectrum. Like whenever you're talking about these ideas, is to talk about the idea as if it's going to be fully implemented and that's it, is utopian. So the idea to believe we live purely under capitalism is utopian. The idea that we're going to live purely under socialism is utopian. The idea that you're going to live purely under communism is a utopian idea. Those is the perfect world scenario. What we talking about?
I don't even think all of them would be utopian. You want to have a blend.
It is utopian because in a utopian,
like if you're arguing the point,
everybody argues that if we implemented directly our way, it would be perfect. That's a utopian idea.
The United States is not purely capitalist. There's socialist.
Agree. That's what I'm saying.
I think that's what he said.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
there's socialist safety nets. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
But again, a problem with the socialist safety net that we ascribe or typically experience in the United States of America is means tested. So there's a requirement for you to lower yourself in order to partake in said social safety net. Versus in other systems, you are entitled. So you're entitled to free healthcare in the UK, regardless of, social class. And if you are rich in the UK and if you want something beyond what's entitled to everybody, then you can go buy something else.
But will you acknowledge there is a trade-off? Will you acknowledge that there is a trade-off when you provide those services? You don't tend to see the level of innovation in those industries that you see here in America, in which they're privately owned.
I got a question. Who do you think is more responsible for innovation?
But would you agree or disagree with the general?
I disagree.
Okay.
So who do you think is most responsible for all the innovation in the United States of America? The government or the private sector?
Private sector.
The government, and it's not even close.
Okay,
every piece of your iPhone is developed by the military. Every piece. The GPS, the microchip, the internet, the internet.
But guess who the military working with? They're working with private companies.
Yeah, they working with private companies.
At the creation of the internet is DARPANET, which is created by the government. The internet is the most valuable creation ever created in the history of mankind, and that was created by the government.
But the military-industrial complex uses capitalism.
That doesn't have anything to do with my general question of.
I just asked you, who do you think produces the more valuable thing, the government or the private sector? You said the private sector.
Private sector. So why, for example, why does the private sector lean on SpaceX to help with missions? Why does the government have Boeing and Lockheed Martin make planes?
Can I work you through how we get to this point? So at some point there is a turn in which now we outsource things that the government used to do, the internet, the space program. So we went to space with the government because there is a person we letting come in, whether it's through lobbying, through political power.
There's innovation. This is my point. There's innovation. You don't see the same level of innovation where you don't have capitalist markets.
Without the internet, none of this exists.
hold up.
Steve, that's like just you can't say because the government made internet, then they need to control the world. That don't even make sense. Like why are you boiling down the fact because the government made internet that they?
But it's not just the internet.
They're not making shit. They're outsourcing everything.
The things that make the world the most valuable, and this then put together to make your finished product.
Elon owns Starlink, right?
Who you think developed a satellite before him?
No, but hold on. You moving the field goal post. Like at the end of the day, Elon privately owns Starlink. Regardless of how many satellites been made and throughout history, it's one nigga right now with the crazy program that got them satellites turning throughout.
Did he create the idea of the satellite?
It don't matter. He created the business that is going to change the world and provide internet.
But that's not
we not
arguing. We not arguing who better at business, G.
No, but I'm talking about the innovating. No, and I'm giving you proof of innovation through private ownership. That's not through the government. It's through private ownership and competition. That's why these things.
So then, why did the private sector? Why did the private sector create it then? Why didn't the private sector create the internet?
So look, you can create.
If the private sector is so innovative, why didn't they create the internet?
Let me answer your question. Just because you create something doesn't mean that you own the, like somebody invented a car, but there's a lot of companies that make cars, correct?
Exactly.
Can I just be honest with you? And this
you keep moving the field goal post. I'm trying to answer your question.
This is a gotcha. Yeah. Because the private sector and the government have two totally different incentives, right? The government doesn't have an incentive to make profit. The government has the incentive to make the world better for its citizens. That's what it's supposed to do. So
what you think that's what the government's?
I think so? I don't think that's the government's incentive. That's like what you might. That's what you might want the government to do, but that's not the government incentive.
That's why I said suppose, and I'm using, you can't see air quotes, but that's what the government's supposed to do. The government doesn't have a profit motive. The government doesn't go into things thinking I'm gonna make a profit. The government goes into creating things because they think it's gonna make the world better or it's gonna make the country stronger. Whatever their motive is, the government does not typically get into things to make a profit. That's a private sector type of thing. The reason why you don't see the private sector jump off on a lot of these things is because the government has a ability to create capital out of nowhere. They can press a button and create money to actually produce said products, where that is very risky for the private sector to try to create the internet, and then the internet fails.
You're boiling down to the internet. Like there's more to life than just the internet.
I can go GPS. I can go your smartphone.
But do you know how many companies?
Your smartphone. I can go.
Do you know how many GPS companies there were?
But the actual technology for the GPS is created by the government.
But the private companies made it better and made it useful for the consumer.
But why didn't they create it? We said
no. We're talking about innovation. Innovation doesn't just mean creation. It's about adapting, evolving over time.
I got a question. Technology.
I got a question. If we never create electricity, how can we say the guy who literally creates the thing that allows for everything to work, and then say, well, the guy who came after him who built something off the electricity is more innovative than him?
I didn't say more innovative than him. You got to listen to what I'm saying. If you compare markets where it's open, you have more innovation than when you don't. That's all I'm simply saying. Now, if you disagree, you can disagree. But I don't know how. I just gave you several examples of privately owned businesses that have taken like things like internet and innovated it in a way that's going to provide more internet to people that never had it before. That's innovation.
But even in other economic models, people have the ability to be like China you can build stuff in China. There's a reason why American companies is
you can, but that's thank you for bringing that up, because like the CEO of Alibaba and other Chinese CEOs bitch and complain all the time about how their government is restricting their ability to maximize their businesses.
Yeah, because they're not gonna let them exploit the citizens. They're not gonna let them exploit the citizens,
and therefore you won't see as much innovation. Like there's less incentive for them to push the envelope when they know that there's a ceiling. Like that's just the reality. You see less innovation when you don't have as much competition. I don't know how you can argue that.
G Johnny, not Johnny, G Steve. Let's
my bad.
Chuck get in here real quick. Johnny,
what's the question? We talking about
Oh, I'm
Gore's
talking about like
internet.
dialogue. Tap in, brother. Or I throw to Chuck if you don't have any commentary. This one to make sure we sparse.
Oh yeah, nah, I think that's a good.
Yeah,
That's
it
good.
was in
I'm
a
here.
Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight just then. I ain't gonna say who Tank Davis was and who was Jake Paul, but they had a nice little back and forth going.
G Tank.
Break
I
it up.
gotta get G Tank. My bad, Steve.
Yeah, but I just wanted to ask Steve, do you want the government to own the means of production and everybody to have an equal share and the workers of the world
No,
unite?
in my perfect, if we talking idealism, we would own the means of production. It would be a dictator of the proletariat. Like, I don't know how that's confusing and people don't understand it. Like in the most idealistic world, there would be no government. The government would cease to exist, and it would be a dictatorship of the proletariat.
But you don't
and
think
we would live in a classless society. That's the idealistic.
Right.
Yeah,
but in a real
That's
world,
very Marxist.
In a real world view,
that's a utopia. That's a utopian
in a real world
future.
view, what I think is actually obtainable is something that's on the spectrum in which we are closer to owning the means of production, in which we actually participate and make the country be a democratic country. Because if we actually participate and make this place be a democratic ran country as it's supposed to be, we can move ourselves closer to the means for production. And if that doesn't happen, we should read what the Second Amendment say. What should happen if we have a tyrannical government that work against its people? I think I'm the only person who really believe in that stuff.
You got a lot of
the
ifs.
Americans wrote down.
Well, he just. I mean, in my opinion, it sounds like you just explained democratic socialism.
I think that's a realistic. I think that's a realistic, achievable in this
that's
world.
what Bernie Sanders that's what Bernie Sanders was pushing for, and that's what the I guess the quote unquote Nordic countries.
I'm a guy of compromise.
And what's the exact definition of democratic? Is it just you vote on the things, or is it
like so for like socialism? It is like to what he was saying a second ago. Like it's a no party or one party state rule type of thing, where democratic socialism is raising the and there's to an extent like we're a soft democratic socialist country here in America. More than anything, the appeal would be to bring the welfare state to where, in Steve's words, it's not means tested, and it's something that's like a baseline for everybody. But with a democratic socialist country, it's more of like it's the median between socialism and capitalism, where there is still a free market, but there is heavier regulations when it comes down to exploitation. And there is a welfare state that exists, but it is applicable to everybody.
But will a democratic socialist government pay reparations to 14% of the population?
That's not the argument we having right now.
And I was gonna say, is there certain industries that have to be?
I don't think capitalism.
So for example, Johnny,
like nationalized to be democratic socialist, or
in the Nordic countries, a lot of people like to use the Nordic countries, but I don't like to use the Nordic countries personally, because the reality is the reason why Europeans have a social safety net is because they stole it. That's the reality of why they have a social welfare state. We have to grapple with that reality that
they do overly tax their citizens there.
Yeah, but
you make $60K,
all their wealth was built abroad.
But their wealth was built,
like wealth in general, yeah.
And as you see the European nations retract from former colonial scope, as you see them retract in order to maintain those social safety nets in which they built off stealing, now you see they have to raise revenue another way, because they can't just go steal it from the Caribbean. They just can't go steal it from Africa. They just can't go steal it from whatever the case may be. But prior to that, the whole Nordic and the whole European social safety nets was built off theft. But if you do want to use the Nordics do like oil, for example. Most of the oil in the Nordic countries is owned by the state, and then the state uses those funds in order to provide some level of stability to the social safety.
Yeah, they got a natural resource that they profit off of.
Versus where we let our natural resource, and we the number one oil producer in the world. We produce more oil than anybody in the world. We the number one producer of oil in the world, but we let people privately own oil in the United States of America.
But do you want to be dependent on the state to redistribute wealth towards you?
No,
Like
this is
how much
the
of the
difference of how I
redistribution?
view it. If something is naturally produced by the world, I don't think somebody can privately own oil, water. Like that don't even make sense. If
But
you
the
want to
refinery, the refinery and production of these things are not. It takes there's capitalistic interest in doing
okay,
this, and they do it more efficiently.
okay. Even
A
if you want to
capitalist would do
say,
it more
even if you want
efficiently.
to say they refine it, there should still be a. It's like Frank Lucas. Anything that touched this block, Americans should get a cut. That I don't see how
I don't
y'all
disagree
are
with that.
against.
I don't disagree. I don't
see how
disagree with
people
that
are
principle.
against that.
I don't disagree with the principle of like you shouldn't be able to own like Lake Norman, for example. Like it's a lake. You know what I'm saying?
But there is
at least without
Or
giving the
I own
community.
a river. You be like, I own the river. I own the lake. I own the oil. Like I think that is crazy. I own the mountain.
I agree with that, but I think there is some pushback to it because, like you say, America has been like in the technologically advanced compared to most people. And a lot of these have come from like these private companies pushing for profit. And I think
It's because our
help us
government
out.
spend more money per capita than most countries on it.
Hey,
Like,
fellas,
but you don't think the fact like
fellas, I know y'all gonna we gonna debate socialism through this whole thing.
like I got
let me throw y'all.
I just got one point to make. Do you think?
So
Elon
Steve,
Musk,
I know you're
my
gonna,
bad.
make a point. You're gonna make.
Let me mute up.
But yeah. Just to continue it, and when you grab the ball, I'm gonna let you do your tween hezzy pull. But just to continue to move the conversation, so then we have more context, or not necessarily context, but more variables to look at, and not just be stuck at looking at wholesale principled like ideologies and government systems. If we're speaking about socialism, how might socialism change incarceration and educational outcomes? We could say America, Black America. Again, if y'all want to do your hezzy pull, I'm like, do your thing. Also try and answer the question so we can continue the conversation moving. But socialism, how would it change incarceration and educational outcomes for the Black community, for America in general?
I do think if we just isolated the education and incarceration, if we were socialized and the prison system wasn't privately owned and judges couldn't profit off of decisions they make and based off of what facility they send people to and stuff like this, which we know is documented to have happened in our legal system. If we remove that, I think that is very beneficial for us as a community. I don't think it ends the disproportionate amount of us that would be incarcerated, but I think it would definitely help. Same thing with the education. I think it wouldn't fix the problem per se, but we would be in a much better situation in theory if we all had access to the same education. In theory.
Johnny, talk to us.
Yeah, nah.
How would it change the outcomes of incarceration and education?
Well, I think a socialist, if education was free, I think obviously more people are gonna go get to school. You're gonna just see just a more educated populace. The jails, I don't know, but I just don't like the fact that a lot of them are private and that's a business. So I think that's something that should be nationalized. That's something that should be run by the government because it just sits with me wrong that people incarcerated is a private business plan and people are profiting off of that. That's always bothered me, and so that going back, it probably would help, but I just think it should be changed back either way. I don't think people's imprisonment should be privatized.
Got you. Do y'all want to answer Tarji's question? Do y'all support school choice?
I do.
What is that? Just picking what school? Like you just get to pick any school? Is that what that means? Or I'm not sure what school choice really means.
It refers to the ability of parents to select the school their child attends rather than being restricted to their assigned neighborhood and public schools.
Yeah, in theory, I think yeah, you should be able. Now let's say I'm on the east side and I want my kid to go to school on the west side, I wouldn't expect for the school bus to come pick this nigga up. I'm gonna have to go take him because I'm choosing to take him far away from what the government wants to provide with how the system's set up. So I feel like
what would be the restrictions for the kid going into, like, I'm sure everybody want to go to the New Valentine school, but what keeps it from like everybody going to school?
Yeah, I agree. Look, they would have to have a cap, right? They would have to have a lottery or some system to like put a cap on attendance.
And so who gets that?
So they would. So the school. So that's the other side of it. If it's if it's school choice, then the schools get to choose who they let in. Then it becomes like a selective process.
So is it really choice? That's the question.
Right. That's what I was begging the question of.
But see, here's my thing though. I think like if we're gonna have a capitalistic society, and how there's income, disparities. One thing where socialism should come in, or we should have more of a socialistic, system set up is no matter what school you go to, they should all get equal funding. And like the school on the west side should get the same amount of money as the school in Ballantyne. And then you wouldn't need something like school choice because like they would all, be getting equal funding. And I think that's something where we talking socialism or socialism program that could work. I think just
you're talking about like
even out funding for
the housing, like the housing property value not being factored into how much funding that gets.
Yeah,
Because
every school
right now,
should get the same.
When you look at government funding, like underprivileged schools get more funding, but the disparity comes inside property value.
Well, yeah, like the money is not like they get more government funding, but if you look overall,
yeah, the schools being funded by property values is a phenomenon created after the 1968s. Because when it's segregated, it's easy to know where not to send the money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you don't need this apparatus of divvied up by the zip code prior to 1968 because segregation is legal, de facto, and actually codified in law. So you don't actually need this creation of the property tax of schools being funded by property taxes before 1968. Post 1968, you can't legally segregate. So now you come up with, well, we're gonna fund the schools by the zip codes, and we know this neighborhood still kind of segregated, so we know where the money going basically. But prior to 1968, you didn't need the zip code thing because they just didn't give the black schools no money. It was like, fuck them, whatever.
But do you think that this is going to actually change these performance indicators?
I think.
So yeah, I guess y'all too. I love for y'all.
I think the reality of it is because I'm not gonna say I don't like talking. I know we're talking about black people, but the reality of it is like we have a whole bottom half of the country or more that's getting, especially men across all races, are downwardly mobile. Like we talking about 18-year-old men are not as well off economically as 50 years ago as 18-year-old men. Like just like every metric you can look at, like men are worse off.
How will socialism fix that? Can we be precise? How is socialism going to change the outcome measures? How's it going to shift the needle?
Because like we say, there would be a guaranteed baseline. Like
how though? What is the mechanism that's going to change the needle? What's going to move the needle? Go ahead.
Okay, I'll give you a prime example. Even if you take fundamental things like healthcare, housing, and education, if those are not tied to your place that you born in the world, like those are guaranteed to you, right? Healthcare, housing, education, just those three factors. You telling me if we guarantee that a baseline floor to everybody, that don't raise people's standing, that don't give people an opportunity to like actually pursue something? Because my healthcare.
I'm asking a specific question here. You're answering a question I didn't ask. I'm asking you, how does how is socialism going to reduce incarceration rates and increase graduation rates and reading and writing proficiency?
So
I think the crux. Listen, the crux of those issues are economic, and I'm talking about raising the economic floor of where all Americans stand. So if I believe that guaranteeing the healthcare, guaranteeing housing,
and guaranteeing education, whatever that is, trade school, college, whatever you want to pursue, if I think those things raise your economic standing, then I think those things will change incarceration.
All right, so let me hop in really quick.
I think that changes.
So Chuck, let me ask you this: what is the highest indicator of crime?
What is the highest indicator of crime?
Or determinant.
Determinant. There we go.
What's the highest determining factor of people's propensity to commit crimes? Is it race or is it their economic status in which they in?
Yeah. Let it.
Like, let's walk you to it. I'm gonna walk you to it.
Wait. Okay.
What is the biggest determining factor of crime?
What is the? We're talking a single thing
of crime? Yes.
I don't know. You tell me. I have to be.
I actually know a book called Freakonomics that actually did analysis on the likelihood of someone being a criminal, and according to the book, it was the mother's level of education, actually. But I know that's not where y'all going.
We can even like lend that to the next point. But like statistically speaking, it's crime. Is like lack of access to like bare minimum needs. But then what is typically the second indicator, or what was the word that you used, Steve? Determinant of crime.
Okay, so the first one was what? Tell me the first one was.
The first one is poverty, like the
poverty,
like the not having access and the need to access to basic human necessities. And then the second one is education. And like, so if we're saying that, like generally speaking, we're giving them the opportunity to have their basic needs met and giving them education, I think that those two things would be the determinants that would help bring down incarceration.
All right, so you're saying that spending more money on education and what was the first thing? Poverty. So if people made more money and you spent more money on education.
I didn't really use any terminology of like people making more money. It's their basic needs being met. So when people like the majority, a big part of like crime inside like all the studies that you will look at is like the fact that people don't have and they're looking to get, and when they don't have the ability to get, then they do crime.
Okay, so what policies would you enact in order to reverse those things? Like what is the solution?
Water, food, housing, healthcare, education.
I don't think there is a panacea. I'm not that guy. But if you gave Americans, it's one policy in America, and it's why we won't get it. If Americans got universal healthcare, it would literally change the way in which Americans could interact with their employer. Because a lot of Americans is either beholden to their employer, because if they lose this job, their whole family lose their health care, or they won't have no health care if they lose this job. So in my opinion, healthcare is the most crucial linchpin. Forget everything else. Forget all the pipe dream stuff in my fantasy wish list. The ability for Americans to take
I don't know how
are we talking about incarceration now?
Yeah, like incarceration, I think it's all the basic.
But I think even if we talking about incarceration, the way in which we are able to negotiate our relationship to the means of production, a major linchpin is used against the American worker is that our healthcare is tied to the form of employment that we are entitled to. What I'm saying is if we remove that bargaining chip, we don't let the employer have a bargaining chip of healthcare, we can actually negotiate us having a higher wage, having a better working condition, having a better this. Because right now, because you don't want to lose your job, you don't even try to negotiate that stuff because you're going to lose your healthcare.
See, I'm skeptical.
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm skeptical about this idea that the government is going to. There's a government program that's going to reduce incarceration rates and increase education rates in the Black community. The reason why
I think that it's like if you just go by the determinants of what makes people commit crimes, I think that by eliminating those determinants, you naturally would have less.
Okay, I think there's
like,
two.
Like people are educated more, and they don't have the and their basic needs are met. Crime will drop regardless.
And Chuck, I think you operating from a mindset of that we should just capitulate to the will of the government, and I'm saying something very different, in which I like.
I can explain more precisely. I think there's two basic narratives here. There is a bias narrative, and there's a development narrative. The bias narrative is that all the disparities we see in any measure, in incarceration rates and education rates, is due to, let's say, broad societal discrimination or systemic racism. And the solution for this is to change the economic or political policies in a way that enfranchises Black people to have more power and more economic wealth and more education. So you fix the system in order to get equality of outcomes. That's one narrative, and I think there is merit to that narrative. But the other one is that it's a bias, it's a development narrative. Like the reason why we see disparities in academic performance and incarceration rates are due to events that happen in early childhood. So one thing that that I've heard described is that children who are raised in a household with only a single mother, who has to act as the disciplinarian and also work, the children have a lot of idle time, and they're more likely to join gangs and have teenage pregnancies and have a lot of pathologies, and they're more likely to be poor. So I think the benefit of this this development narrative is that there's actually things that the individuals can do. There's actually things that families can do to remedy that. And I think both of those have merit, and I think we have to decide which one we're going to focus on. We're going to change society or change the family.
I said if you change the family, that is changing society.
Yeah, and I imagine that like that single mother that you explain. Well, yeah, I mean, like I think one, just the single mother thing is his own thing, but yeah, the single mother working those extra hours and having unattended kids is a symptom of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
that's true. That's a good point.
In which, yeah, but nonetheless, I'll move us forward inside the conversation. Again, we hinted at the Fred Hampton Jay-Z bar, where again Jay-Z said he arrived the same day Fred Hampton died, and he had very divergent just ideas of how progress for Black American get. Jay-Z is the Black capitalist. Fred Hampton, he's a self-proclaimed Marxist socialist. So I'll ask y'all this question: which path is more liberating, the collective median or individual wealth? Johnny, talk to us first.
This is where I might surprise you. I really do think the collective median needs to be the priority, and that's the type of capitalism that we need to have. It needs to be a group, a collective sort of capitalistic mindset where you're building as a community. That's what I believe.
Democratic socialist. I know it. He under the guy.
G is pump faking, man. He just want to hold on to being a Black capitalist. G, come on, we can read between the lines, man. You be saying
I'm always for the people. I'm always for the people, man. I'm always for the people, but I also acknowledge, man, people will burn you too, and you got to trim the fat sometimes. Like you can't save everybody. Everybody
don't want to be socialist, man.
Listen, Johnny called him out early. He said, "Hey, your radical capitalist idea sounds a little social."
Now, G though, when you talking, I feel like you not so like. I feel like you are aspirational about where you want the world to go, but you're really just dealing with the reality of what we in. And like I can respect that. You talking about the reality that we actually in and what you think is can accomplish in this reality. Versus, it's not like you don't sympathize with the ideas or agree with the ideas or get the spirit of ideas. And I get that. Like, if you look at this world and we talking about creating a society that's beyond just being about yourself and an individual, that is very hard to believe that is possible if we just removing all of our what we know about the world and we just looking at it for what it is, face value. That humans tend to err on the side of selfishness, tribalism, and whatever isms that you want to name. And that's just a sad reality. And people making statements about we not all homogenous. I don't need you to be homogenous for me to care about you as like a human. You're a human. You bleed. You being white or brown or whatever is insignificant to the project.
All right. Johnny, talk to us.
I mean, if we talking liberation for everybody, it's gonna be that collective median. That's gonna be what, especially if we're all not there. Like, we look at the stats.
Free
That's
market,
not
yeah.
that's not the reality of the situation for us. But I mean, like he said, everybody got a little selfishness, in there, and I think everybody personally should strive for that individualism. And I think everybody having a goal, kind of helps collectively bring up the median. Also, I think if everybody's reaching, they say shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars. Even if you don't get there, you might land on the moon. So I think everybody collectively should try to strive and get as much as we possibly can. And I think that brings up the median too. But the ultimate goal is to bring up the median.
Gotcha, Chuck.
I think there's merit on both sides. I think there's limits as to how you can impact the society as a whole. I think you can have levers of influence on your household and your extended family, but there's no way for me to really make sure that children outside my household are doing their homework or not committing crimes or anything of that nature. But I do think that the collective median can work if we're connected, if there's through marriage or economic trade. So I think the more that families connect to form extended families and those form communities, I think you can have a median if you have a lot of families who are connected either through marriage or through economic trade. Like if I depend on you for medical care or financial services or for other goods or services, then I think that can bind groups of people together, like economically. Go ahead.
Gotcha, Steve.
What was the question again?
Which path is more liberating, a collective median or the individual dream, or the individual wealth?
Obviously, I think the collective is more liberating because that is the path that's kind of got the most pushback, historically speaking, especially in America. Like, anytime, I mean, we didn't name countless examples. We name the same examples every day, whether it's Black Wall Street, Rosewood, Durham, Philadelphia. You can go on and on where you say, well, these people are trying to come together as a collective, right? And every time you see that action, people, through whatever means, they sabotage it. So I do think the collective is a much more, liberatory, path. And obviously it got grander ramifications, if you look at history. And I think those ramifications have scared a lot of people from even thinking about that like type of politics. Because you can die, like you can get killed. So that's the reality of it.
Gotcha. Unc, welcome to the show. What's your thoughts? I'll re-ask you the question. Which path is more liberating, a collective median or individual wealth? Talk to us, Unc. Unc, I think you might be muted, or maybe you stepped away.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I was muted. I feel like it would be more of a collective would be ideal, but to me, it would take time for it to work. It would be at least 2 generations from when you started for it to kind of take impact, because my whole thing is that, you have us as a nation, and you have those that, what I'm saying, they don't really want, they they don't want what everybody else want. They just want for themselves, or they accept whatever you're gonna give them, and they're gonna just try to take advantage of that. And my experience with it, or to say what far as what I see is, you can look at it like it's not just a black thing. We're talking about poor America, the ones that are, the rock bottoms. We're talking about the Appalachians to the Delta. You understand what I'm saying? Both of them are the American nigga. That's who I'm talking about. Them. They gonna have to get brainwashed a generation or two before they come to grips that they gonna have to, more than with them getting this stuff, they're gonna have to do something to get it as well. They have to be productive in society. And right now, if you just change tomorrow, boom, and give everybody stuff, the American nigga gonna try to take advantage of that as much as they can. That's why I'm saying it would take at least 2 generations from the day you started for it to actually come into play. But I feel like collective would be better. But for right now, you know what I'm saying, you got to line your pockets and get them where they at. And, until then, you know what I'm saying, collective would be nice, but I'm really going with, you know what I'm saying, line your own pockets right now. That's me.
Derail the train at the end. I was with you in the first half, man. Then drove that motherfucker off the track at the end, man.
No, what I'm saying is that what I'm saying. No, but what I'm saying is that right now it's good. It's good for that to happen, but it's going to take at least 2 generations for it to take an effect, because they're going to have to retrain the mind of the American niggas.
And get the bag in the meantime.
Exactly. You better get it.
All right, guys. Hey, fellas, let me launch it, and we'll start with you, Steve, and then we'll work our way the other way. So with all that said, it sounds like everybody but, well, maybe Unc and Chuck a little bit, they agree with collective media. So let's go to part of the title. Was Fred Hampton right? Is Fred Hampton's vision outdated, or is it more relevant than ever? Steve?
I think he was right. And I think this is just during that time, those people in a way were ahead of their time on their analysis of what America was going to devolve into. Because you got to think, it's very hard to sell the American people on that idea when you're on the back end of the New Deal and then you're entering into LBJ's Great Society. So during that time period, and you got in 1972, Richard Nixon almost passed universal health care. So like that's a very different time period. So I could see how people during that time is like, this, what are they talking about? I'm skeptical. We got the New Deal, we got LBJ, Great Society, and we like 4 votes away from passing universal health care. That's a very different time. But as you flash forward, his analysis becomes more correct the further you get away from that actual time period. Because what you've seen since 1968 is a reduction in the quality of life of Americans. And that's what they was predicting, that you would see a reduction in the quality of life of Americans over the next 50 years. And he was right.
Okay. All right, Chuck, on you.
I think Jay-Z was more right than Fred Hampton, to be honest. I don't trust the government. I don't trust that they are going to help Black people. I don't know how you can believe in systemic racism and also believe that the government is going to save you. I think I'd rather depend on my family, my extended family, and my ability to make money than on the government. I'd rather worry about.
Let's make a clarifying point with the question, because I don't think Fred Hampton was somebody who was preaching the government should take care of the people. He was trying to create coalitions of all different backgrounds to bring people together across racial lines, socioeconomic lines, so that it was really community based and by the people for the people. And so do you feel like that sort of mindset or philosophy today is still relevant, less relevant, more relevant, like relative to where it was back then?
So are we talking about like Pan-Africanism? Well,
No, not even like cross, like bringing like poor whites, poor Latinos, poor Asians, poor blacks, like bringing people together regardless of race, really under the name of like more like a poor people's campaign type of deal.
Rainbow coalition, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
A coalition of poor people.
Of working class people would probably be a more accurate way to describe it.
Of workers.
Yeah.
The proletariat.
See, I'm skeptical. I got to be honest. I'm skeptical of that approach.
I got a question about the. You always make a point about you don't have trust in the government, and I get that. Why do you trust a market that sells you on gambling, dick pills, OnlyFans, kids taking steroids on the internet? Why do we trust the market?
That's the market.
Now, I trust my ability to get economic power directly through skills development and, learning how to do something. Then I don't want to get my money indirectly from the government. I want to avoid.
I'm not talking about.
Let's go back to the question. But
I'm not talking about getting money from the government. I think people misunderstand what the function of the government is. The market only has one function. The market only wants to make money, and the market will make that money by any means necessary, even if the product they selling to you is at the detriment of your health and well-being. The role of the government is to step in and to make sure that the market is not selling you products that will negatively impact you.
But hold up, Steve, put a button on that 1 second, because
Okay,
I want to keep it on the tracks of this idea of that coalition across different cultures of bringing working class people together regardless of race. Chuck, you were starting to kind of speak to why you don't agree with that. I'm curious to hear where you end up landing.
Working class people, regardless of race. Okay. I guess I don't know enough about how that would work. I mean, how does it benefit me to participate in this coalition? Why should I?
In theory, like a union almost, right? Like if you have a collective and you can bargain as a collective and as a unit, then you can ask for better conditions, more pay, have maybe more control over your means as a worker versus not, right? So like really coming together as a community to say, hey, corporate America, or hey, whoever's paying us, you're definitely going to pay us a living wage, and we're going to make sure of that.
Okay, if it's like a union, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, so yeah, disregard what I said before. I like this idea. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's go to, like I said, we're gonna work our way backwards real quick. Johnny, we're gonna get you. Chuck, Unc, talk to us. Is Fred Hampton's vision outdated, or is it more relevant than ever?
I feel like it's kind of relevant.
The American
I feel like it's
American nigga.
Basically, that's all it is. That's all it is. The American nigga. He trying to do right by the American nigga. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing wrong with that. And that's something that needs to get done. Is the American nigga need more help than anybody else, because they are the most uneducated. They are the poorest people. They are the people they're the ones that's in and out of jail all the time.
Really quickly, I think that it's probably good for anybody that's just watching for you to clarify what the American N-word that you're talking about is.
All right, the American nigga is the embarrassment of most of any culture or family dynamic, far as in whatever race you are, anything like. They're the embarrassment of your family. They're the one that you don't want to invite to the cookout, but you have to because that's your favorite aunt's son. That's the one that uncle that come around and act the way I act in school all the time now. That's the American nigga. But they don't have anything. You understand what I'm saying? And they happy to not have anything.
So it's clarified. You're not specifically talking about black people.
No, of course not black people. American nigga is whatever color you is. You the most ignorant Americans. The most ignorant Americans are the American niggas.
So could there be a
no matter what color you are?
Nigga?
Yes, there's Chinese niggas. Yes. There's Chinese niggas, Puerto Rican niggas, Mexican niggas, the Russian niggas. The collective of ignorance in America, the ones that's in prison. The American nigga is the one that love prison all the time. I don't give a damn. I'm going. I'm gonna do this bid. I'm gonna do these 6 months. Yeah, American nigga. The one that's stealing from the corner store and goddamn don't tell on me. Why you telling? Why? Nigga, you ain't gotta be like that. Damn, I only took a so and so. You know, American nigga. That's who that is. And that's who need it more than any, because they're the ones that need to be educated. And that's why I say that it take at least 2 generations. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to die out. They had to die out and have to get retrained. But it will help them out more than it would anybody else. Anybody else that's out here in society doing the right thing and working and whatever, you know what I'm saying? It'll kind of benefit us. But the whole thing is that's what Donald Trump trying to do right now. Put all them niggas together. That's why he's saying I'm getting rid of the slums and all this stuff. The slums, see, the slums in DC might be filled with black people. But
So,
you go to West
let me ask you
Virginia. Yes.
What would you say that MAGA is? Like, what version of the American N-word is that?
Oh, MAGA beyond nigga.
Beyond nigga is wild.
That is the evolution of niggas. MAGA is the evolution of niggas.
The evolution.
Got
Damn.
Beyond burgers, now Beyond niggas.
Damn.
I'm telling you.
So like
MAGA is
like when you see that little chart where it's like the monkey turning into the human, you saying like it was niggas first, then it was MAGAs? Like
It's like when you
yes.
human. That's what he's saying. It's like MAGA's like when you Neuralink the human, and they can. Yeah. All right, so let me throw the old man. Welcome to the show, old man. I'll ask you the question. I had to let Unc get that one off. That was too good to not give some room. Is Fred Hampton's vision outdated?
If his vision
Or
is
is it
talking about
relevant than ever?
multiculturalism, then yeah, it's outdated. I mean, that's what people are trying now. I mean, really, the multiculturalism doesn't work because it's always one group within the group trying to take control over everybody and tell everybody how things should work. So it becomes a uniculturalism. So,
Well, all right. So, do you look at multiculturalism as segmenting things through class? Is that still multiculturalism if you just look at things based on class and not race or religion?
if we're talking about socialism, there is no classes, right?
Well, like depending on what your solution is.
There's classes in socialism.
Socialism definitely has classes.
Communism is.
So
That's my whole argument against socialism. You're still gonna have poor people in socialism.
It's always someone on top and someone on the bottom, regardless of whatever.
But when we say class,
So do you think
when
that
we
a
say
collective-
class, we're talking about like more of like a group of similar individuals, like the workforce, for example, or people of the same profession, or they're not class in terms of like poor class, high class, low class, but just a group of people, if you will. It's going to be all types of different backgrounds.
Yeah, I see how it works within the job force, but not when we're talking about real world scenarios. I mean, it's a completely different thing. Because in the job force,
So are you for like a collective median or the push for individual wealth?
I'm for a push of individual wealth.
Okay, all right. So you ain't talking.
I want people to. We don't get better by just saying everybody's the same and everybody. We won't get this. We'll still be in like primitive tribes if it was like that. Like we don't advance if we don't have like something to strive for. But it doesn't mean you need to step on people while you achieving your goals. So
I haven't created one single thing in the world, and I got more money than motherfuckers who engineers.
But money means nothing.
I haven't created nothing.
Are you boasting about money? Your money means nothing.
But we're making this claim that if we strive and we really try to create, but it's literally people who push buttons. Wake up! I push 2 buttons on Robinhood in the morning, and this dude who over here busting his ass to come up with a space station or get his good grades in his college is making $60,000 a year.
But what are you saying when you make these statements?
Are you a
the
capitalist or
point
a socialist?
the point I'm trying to make
You
is
saying that there's a
the
lack
point
of
I'm trying to
value.
make is people don't pursue stuff because it's gonna make them money. Being an engineer don't make you no real money. If you want to make some real money, you go be a Wall Street dude who can make $500,000 in a quarter.
You sound like a capitalist, though. I thought you were a socialist.
I live in America.
Okay, I got you.
I live in America. You do you think socialism is a vow to poverty?
You're like
Marx,
a vegan that you're a vegan that eats meat.
So basically, he's saying what I'm saying. He wishing for it in the future. He wishing for it in the future, but right now he's getting his money. He's getting his money right now.
Like if
Getting
y'all
his
see
money
me
now.
I'm in the chat posting about how to get money all the time. I know how to get money. That's nothing. I think I'm going against something that's that's a negative to my class position in the current world. And I think that's weird that I don't care about, like, my class position is, I'm fine with my class position decreasing. If I really care about black people and it's gonna take a hit to my class position, I will make that trade every day. That's not hard for me to rationalize in my head.
That's respect.
Yes, sir. All right, so I throw it to you, Kamu. We'll bring this to South Africa. And like your immediate and what you see could be beneficial to you and your people over there. A push for a collective median or individual wealth, socialism versus capitalism, if you may. What do you side at? Talk to us, Kamu. We can't hear you. You muted, bro. Yeah, you gotta hit that button.
Thank you. I hope you guys are good, man.
Yes, sir.
I think
Hey,
for the past 30
Kamu also. Don't let them bully you into putting that hat on. Show that fro.
Not today, bro. No,
Hey,
no,
that
not
motherfucker Camus get up and brush his shit backwards every day, man.
He got that shag waist.
Look, I think we've had individualistic approach for the past 30 years, bro. And to be honest, it's not working. It's not. It really isn't working. Going forward, I really wish that it could change. It could change because we have a bunch of billionaires and a handful of multimillionaires, but the wealth and inequality gap is still getting larger, and it's like this is not helping anyone. And compared to other communities, I haven't spoken about this. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but we have an Indian community in South Africa. They were brought in, so they kind of have like a similar story to you guys in terms of how they got here. They were brought in by the British, and
what kind
they
of
came
community?
in as
Indians.
Okay.
Indians. Yeah. And then they
Well,
came
you
in
mean
as
like
like
Indians from India?
You're right.
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
Not indigenous.
They came in.
Red dot, not feather.
Okay.
Gonna get the channel took down.
So they came in as a slave class, right? And bro, if I may tell you, dog, like they have been doing so well because they are very organized. They understand the capitalistic market, but in their own space, they practice socialism.
Yep.
So they understand that having to work together will take us far. They don't really need government for anything. They got their shit going on, bro. And I think they make 1% of the population or some shit like that. They're very organized, very wealthy, and they don't need government for shit. And these are Indian people, bro. Like when you go to India, poverty there is rife. I think India has the highest
Yeah, it's crazy.
poverty. You know.
So, Kamo, let me ask you a
Yeah.
question real quick. Let me ask you a question. So, you saying that
Fred Hampton.
that Indians and whites are like wealthy in South Africa? You're like so the Indians and the whites. So like, but y'all, and so the average black South African is still trying to be like the individual versus like collectively take them out, because that's the Indians and the whites. Like, I feel like y'all should be able to collectively bring things together and not knock that out the park.
But damn, this is actually like a great push for socialism, though, because the issue is that it sounds like he's saying that the black people are doing the capitalistic mindset, where it's individual wealth, and it always gets stunted by the groups that collectively have like been intentional about doing things in communal.
You know, like I feel like you correct. We fell for this capitalism thing, and we went in like with closed-mindedness, like capitalism. Like I have to make money for my family, and like this is it. And when you see other communities, bro, like that's not how it works. The Indian community, the small head, we have them. The small head, it's like I think they are like 100 and something, like 120,000 Jewish community. They're doing very well, dog.
Y'all
You know,
getting
very
y'all back
organized.
beat in by everybody over there, man. God damn.
It's crazy, bro.
But can I say something about
But that's
one
not
thing I know here?
that's not true socialism.
Hey, Unc, real quick. I do gotta ask you. So let me ask you this, Kamo, when you speak about like the Indian community, at like 5 o'clock, do all the women and men come out their house and walk around in sandals around your neighbor, like around the neighborhoods?
Nah, bro. They are proper, bro. It's not.
Oh no, they do that here in America.
They do it at 3 p.m.
Oh, they
over there.
love it. They love that.
It depends on the summer. Them
And
hot
even
days,
walk
they might
be
wait. They
real.
might wait a little
They
bit
be
later.
out there in the rain. They be out there in the wintertime.
Oh,
4:30 to 5 o'clock.
Man, it's
Smell
getting
the
cold,
bubbles,
man.
man.
They getting their steps in. I
The whole
respect it.
diaspora be out there, bro. They be
for about.
No, we have illegal. The ones you're talking about, like we have illegal immigrants, like who came like from Pakistan and all of, we hate them, dog. They have to go. They behave like
So, Kamal, let me ask you.
they
Let me ask you this: if you was to put it on like a hate scale, Pakistan or Nigerian, how would you do it?
Yo, dog. Nah. It's gotta be Pakistanis, dog.
Over the Nigerians?
Yes.
Pakistani is real. That's the ones that be doing them scams on y'all on the phones. In fact, the Pakistanians.
Hey man, y'all
No,
didn't
no, stop. It's gotta be Pakistanis. Those niggas have to go, bro. Like,
oh no,
Pakistani niggas.
See, I got them niggas over there too. See, they got the niggas over there too.
Oh,
y'all. See, now they got the South African niggas.
I'm just used to what you just said right now. But it's gotta be Pakistan. We have Pakistanis, Bangladeshis. Let me see.
So come on. What makes the Pakistanis so bad? Here they they just like people over here. Like what makes them really bad?
They came in here illegally.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, that's just it's a crime according to our constitution. Number two, they don't pay tax.
Kamu MAGA.
They don't pay tax. Number three, they you know, our government is corrupt, dog. They find loopholes. They never get arrested, dog. They never get arrested.
Oh, so you doing like the sanctuary city thing?
Kamu is a foundational South African, man.
That's
Put some
FBA.
respect on that nigga name, man.
FBA all day.
South African.
Hold on. Number four, they also into dope game.
Oh, go ahead.
They never.
You said they in a dope game?
Yeah, but they in dope game, but they never get caught. Like they never get caught.
They slicker than the Nigerians.
And they monopolize. They also monopolize the cell phones. What is it?
Oh
Mobile
yeah. Well, I've
industry.
heard about
Telecom,
so what
telecommunications.
kind of so
They
when you say
cosplay
dope
too.
game,
They cosplay, right?
so Kamu, when you say dope game, are they also into the Wanga Wanga, or what do they do?
Unga.
Yeah.
Probably.
Wunga.
I don't. But they quite big. They have a big mafia when it comes to the dope game.
Oh,
Nigerians
so
are
they
very
got a mafia
selfish.
over there.
All right, so we gonna cut that part out the
Yeah,
live.
Kamu, dude, you trying to get us on the list, man. You're pretty exposing business practices of the gang. You're pretty talking about the gang on the internet,
And
man.
they don't play Kamu.
If we don't see you next week, Kamu, man, I'm gonna hit up the embassy over there, make sure you good.
Kamu,
What's the number on
put
your
the air
hood over
quotes
there,
in the
man?
air.
So I can give
Put
him an
the air
address.
quotes
If
in
I
the air,
gotta look for
Kamu.
you next week, man.
Air quote.
Gotta protect this
You
nigga
got-
identity, man. We
Air
gotta
quote.
This nigga up here talking about the gang on the
Air
internet.
quote.
You fool.
Allegedly, there you go.
Don't get it twisted, dog. In as much as they bad, dog, they will never mess with us, dog.
Okay.
We'd kick their ass. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, y'all heard that.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, go get y'all
so
shit
what
back
was-
then. Stop telling us about how everybody running y'all
Like
pockets.
Johnny-
So one of the
So hold
Come
on really quickly. Let's let Johnny and G get there. Then I'm gonna let you and Steve ask Kamu more questions. But I do want you to answer the question: Is Hampton's vision outdated or more relevant than ever? Both of y'all kind of leaned on the idea of the collective median when it came down to it. What did y'all thought?
I don't
Johnny?
think it's I think he was onto something, especially like if you're talking, because I think I done broke it down. He's talking more of a community based system, and I think that's always been my issue with socialism is the government not trusting the government, not being able to privately own. If it's a community based thing and no government, I think that's going to be the way for us. But we have to get everybody on one accord, and I also like I said earlier, I think individualism goes a long way. I think if Unc said it's gonna take the collective median might take a while. I think we can still strive to get that individual wealth, and I think that's the only way to help protect your family. So I think that's something people should still strive for. And I really think it'd be hard to if we all increase our individual wealth, that means our collective median is gonna increase. But it's hard to ask people like Steve to there's a lot of people who've done all right on the individual capitalistic thing to ask them just to take a hit, and nobody else wants to chase and try to do that collective thing. So I think you have to have both of them, and I think with the combination is how we all get to that liberation.
Gotcha. G, talk to us, brother.
Yeah, I think given what's happened here, let's just say since COVID came out of nowhere, 2020, we talk about inflation oftentimes, but that's a year-to-year metric. It doesn't really account for how crazy stuff has been from, say, over a 5-year span in totality, right?
Yeah.
And when you really look at cost of living over the last 5 years, it's really crazy. And so I think his message today, especially amongst people who work, it's always made sense. It's always been one of the biggest threats to the corporate oligarchs are the creation of unions and their workers coming together and then starting to make demands. That's all these big businesses' biggest fear. That's something they definitely don't want to happen. But that is workforces. And when I say workforces, I'm talking about people who even make, $250 and less, even because even if you're making $250, you probably don't spend it in a smart way. You probably got that. You still probably spending in a kind of check to check lifestyle because you're making $250. You see what I'm saying? And I think there's going to be that amount of people kind of looking to say this ain't going to keep working. Stuff is getting crazy expensive. What are we going to do here long term? So I think it's more relevant than ever how that will happen, when it will happen. Of course, I don't. That's the magic question, but that would be very beneficial. But I feel like society is pushing workers in that way, where it's like, you know, history might repeat itself. You know, like we might see a rise in like that communist sort of mindset that was there around the Depression era, and like how we were talking about the New Deal, like that might start to come back up here because of how crazy cost of living is.
Not to mention AI. It sounds like we slowly are converting. I got G over here.
That's Comrade G. Put some respect on his name,
That's Comrade Vanguard G. That's Vanguard G. Proletariat G. But nonetheless, I do want to detour into reparations really quickly. And then we'll kind of finish off with just like some basic questions. But is a capitalistic system realistically incentivized to provide reparations? My bad. Let me clarify for Black Americans at that.
See, this is an example of where, because it's capitalism, if Black labor were to come together and say, these are our demands as a community, it would really make an impact in the bottom line of what America can produce and then what we spend as well. So if we really came together, you know,
that's forcing them to.
But that's the beauty of capitalism. You can
force. No, the question is incentivize.
So what's the question?
Is a capitalistic system realistically incentivized to provide reparations for Black America? Not can you use capitalism to force them, but is it incentivized for them to give Black Americans?
Yeah, I don't think any system is incentivized to pay reparations.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it could be. I think it could be because I mean
we just gonna work our way backwards. So yeah. Go ahead.
But no, I think the way Black people spend, I mean, and the lack of, you know, we talk about needing to raise our financial literacy, and we talk about having plans for the reparations, and there's a lack of that. I think if we got reparations, it would be a big boost for a lot of people in this economy. Now it might, you know, be an L, you know, economists might argue depending on how they come up with it. But as far as like that money being transferred back, I think it would be a boost for people. So I think there is an incentive. Will they do it? No, because I think they're just stubborn and they don't want to give it to us. But there's an argument made that it could benefit a lot of people even outside of our community.
All right, can I go?
We working our way around. So it's gonna go Kamu, then you, then Steve, then Chuck.
Yo, Q, I think I'm gonna mess it up, bro, because I'm gonna bring a South African aspect into it. I brought up the Indians. You know, I think it's not quite accurate to compare you with the Indians because during apartheid classifications, Indians were like deputy white. So it was white Indians and so-called colored and us. But be that as it may, apartheid took effect like later on. It was colonialism throughout. So throughout colonialism, we were like the same. We're a bunch of, you know, and apartheid like lasted for 44 years. So I'm not particularly sure if I can say that the Indians worked so hard within that 44 years to like not need reparations. But as I see them now, they really don't need government for anything because they are very well organized. I'm not sure if that could be the case for you guys, considering that, you know, you have been...
Just focus it to like South Africa. Would that be the case for y'all guys?
Is it an incentive to pay reparations? Is the question.
Oh yeah, I guess. Well, yeah. Well, y'all need do y'all feel like y'all need reparations over there?
Well, I think it's a kind of different scenario with us. We're gonna take our land. We know that. So it's
okay. So y'all gonna take y'all reparations.
And he said they going to too. You saw that? He said we going.
We're going
land
to take our
reparations.
land. It's not a question. It's just a question of when. You
They
know,
want land
it's
reparations.
not a. There's no really an ideal system that's going to stop us. Whether we communist tomorrow or we still pursue capitalism, we're going to take our land. So for us, really, it has nothing to do with the presiding economic system. It's
Okay.
really up to us. It's going to happen. We are taking our land. Yeah.
And I
40
see that,
acres and a mule.
that question doesn't like explicitly.
Hey, Kamu bent that shit. His eyes started
Bro, you
bucking when
saw
he
that
said
video?
that
Say we
shit.
going to.
He said we
Come
gonna
and
take
say
our
not
We
land.
gonna
if.
take us. And I'm like, oh,
He
this nigga
didn't say
hulked up
if,
on
he
me.
said when. It's a
Yeah.
difference between if and when. He didn't say if, he said when.
Oh no,
Oh
it's
shit.
Hey man, Trump and them gonna find this clip and they gonna have your ass on Fox News talking about you gonna go kill some white farmers, man.
All right,
If,
man. Oh man, talk to us.
All right, I'm going to touch on a couple of things. First of all, Indians from India are never and should never be compared to Foundation of Black Americans in America. Indians from India should be compared to Indians from India that come to America. So we built the country. We're not immigrants. So I just want to clarify that. And we're mixed in with people that were transported from Africa to here. So we're not a whole different breed. So our whole history is different than what you're experiencing in South Africa and what we are experiencing from immigrants coming and being successful here in America. The next thing I want to say is that it doesn't hurt. Reparations will not hurt capitalism in America. That's a better question. Can it help capitalism in America? Yes, it's obvious. So much so that it will help the Black people so much that they will rise above everybody else. What did we talk about earlier? We talked about poverty and being able to, house yourself and help. When you get reparations, that means there's money in your pocket. That means you can alleviate debt. You can start paying for things. You can create a system and hopefully pay for your own education if you're willing to advance yourself and better yourself. So if it's going to better Black people overall, then it's going to better the country overall, which ultimately will better capitalism overall. So that's all I have to say.
Gotcha. But so why would the power structure benefit from Black people changing classes?
Because if you're about America first, there's no one more American than foundational Black Americans. If you're racist, then that's why it doesn't benefit you, because you don't want a party or a group of people to rise above you. But if you're about America first and being a dominant world power, regardless of what you look like, then it's going to benefit you. Take race out of it, and you just say, if you're a nationalist and you're patriotic, and I want Americans to rise up and continue to achieve, then it's going to benefit all Americans when you give reparations to the people who have been deprived in America.
Okay. Steve, I'll let you go. I guess I got a bunch of things, but
Man, they not getting no reparations. None of this system. Because I think people getting too caught up on the government, but it will be very hard while there's a large proportion of the population that suffers from scarcity, like legit scarcity. And then you say, well, we're going to choose this one group and give them XYZ. I think under the current conditions, it is actually the hardest to get reparations because it's always going to be a counterparty that say, well, I'm poor and at the bottom too. And that's the real ideological battle. Like the government just not gonna do it if the people don't overwhelmingly support this.
You're not answering the question.
I just said I don't think reparations
is incentivized through capitalism.
It's incentivized through capitalism. Like I don't think it is.
What about socialism?
But this is my word. This is my worldview. I think in that worldview, if the bottom is a sufficient, bottom for everybody, I think that's a much more idea we could sell to the masses when they're not suffering from a position of scarcity already. I think the issue with reparations is when we say, hey, yeah, Black people should deserve reparations, but for the past 50 years, half the country economic prosperity has been decreasing. So the end result of if we pass we have to be real. The end result, if we actually got reparations in this current conditions, is that those politicians will probably get killed. Like that's the reality.
That has
If they
nothing to
gave
do with capitalism, though. What are we talking
Wait,
about?
why niggas gotta start killing? You saying we murderers?
No. I'm talking about the people who
Anything
don't.
will be
I'm
us.
talking about the people who don't get reparations. The people who don't get reparations because
I thought you said you gonna give niggas money and you gonna kill niggas. I'm like,
No,
whoa,
no, no.
whoa,
He's saying
whoa,
like whoever. Let's say Gavin.
whoever the people who don't get
gave
reparations under this
all of their
current system,
reparations, the rednecks will kill them. That's pretty much what
because this system creates a level of scarcity where nobody can think of another group beyond themselves. I don't know if it's socialism. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but we have to have a system in which people can think beyond just what's gonna personally benefit them. And right now we don't have that set up. So if you do pass reparations, it ends up with a violent conclusion.
It doesn't make sense. We already have examples. The better question is, has reparations that have been given to everyone else outside of black people, has that hurt capitalism? The answer is no. So it won't hurt capitalism.
I don't think we were talking about hurt. I think the question was more.
The question is incentivized.
It was is the system incentivized to give reparations?
And I don't think
is
so,
capitalism
because
incentivized?
also black people are the reserve army of labor for the United States of America. Like, so it's doubly not incentivized. So the system literally requires there to be a buffer class between everybody else, to show you that if you don't participate in this economy and in the system in the way that you want to be, you could be relegated to this class here. So like we literally play an important position into coercing the rest of the United States of America into participating in the system in a way in which the system wants the world to go on. Like,
hold on, Steve. Let me get to
the
the other two real quick. Talk to us. Is capitalism as a system realistically incentivized to provide reparations to Black Americans? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts on this right here. You give reparations to Black people, right? But I look at it like this, you know what I'm saying? Without financial literacy, and it depends on how they're going to get the reparations. Are they going to give it to you in one lump sum, or are they going to give it to you in increments over the time? Because giving it to them in one lump sum, I always say 6 months, but I say 2.5 years after giving reparations. The ones without financial literacy be poor again, but it's going to give a boom to the economy because they're going to owe all the Nikes, all the Jordans going to get bought up, all the Gucci and gold chains and diamond teeth and stuff like that. It's going right back to them because they don't know what to do with the money. They're just going to buy stuff, and then what's going to be is it's going to be a larger crime rate because those that spent their money are going to steal from the ones that still holding on to their money. So with me saying that is that it's an incentive, but I feel like if they're gonna give it, they need to give it in increments. They don't need to give it all at one time. Because you give it to them one time, you know what I'm saying? They're just gonna spend it in a little bit of no time. But you give it to them in increments, it's also gonna give them an incentive not to work and not want nothing but that check, because people already living off of the government right now. Check the check and don't care. It's gonna give them even instead of not to care even more and not even to go get further education, and they go get free money. That's what they're gonna consider it as. That's my opinion on it. It's not. That's just what I believe.
Reparations is gonna boost the crime rate. That's an interesting take. Chuck, talk to us, brother.
Salute. Yeah, I don't see any capitalist incentive to pay reparations. Reparations, I think, is a debt owed, but I don't see how it benefits the capitalists to transfer $20 trillion to 15% of the population. I don't see how it benefits them directly financially, but I do see a possible moral benefit. Like, I think it's a way that the government could buy back moral capital lost during slavery and Jim Crow. It could be framed as, we're buying back our moral capital by paying the descendants of slaves. Or I heard Cat Williams had a joke that he said that you could pay reparations in exchange for giving white people the the ability to say the N-word. That's one way to incentivize it. But I don't see a capitalistic incentive to pay reparations, to be honest.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
see what they've always had an incentive when they paid the slave owners reparations. That was an incentive.
Are we talking about like specifically from the
Why are we treated different? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, I think that like the idea would be, what is the incentive for the power structure to give Black people specifically reparations in 2025? Especially with them being against especially the group that's in right now. And if we're looking at like what MAGA conservatives are.
Will paying reparations make America great again?
Yes, it will make America greater.
Like they're against what is the word? Not incentive programs, but they're against like welfare, not welfare. I don't want to use the word welfare programs, but like DEI, they're against anything that kind of gives due to
government assistance.
Government assistance. There we go. They're against government assistance. Entitlement programs. That's the word I was looking for. Like they're currently against that. And it's due to the power structure viewpoint on keeping power and staying at the top of the hierarchy, where to them, even if you, so matter of fact, let me ask you this. Would you say that what you deem as the power structure currently is racist, or do you think that they're like egalitarian and they're cool with whoever just is at the top?
The system? Yeah, everything in the system is racist. Yeah.
So by its like by the hierarchy that it's set up, and what you're saying is racist, that in itself would mean that they're not incentivized, right? If they want to keep their spot inside the hierarchy.
Yeah, why would a racist system pay reparations? That doesn't make sense.
Why would a racist system free slaves?
They didn't free slaves. Actually, it wasn't about us being free. You see how long it took us another 100 years before they even tried to give us a piece of equality. It wasn't them; it was the world eyes that put them on. If the world eyes wasn't on America for the atrocities that they were doing to us back then, they wouldn't have gave a damn.
No,
it was other nations.
No, it's because the North wanted to win the war.
There was
the
an
North
incentive.
wanted to win the war, but I'm saying
otherwise
that's
there
what
was
I'm
an
saying.
incentive.
But that was the incentive was that right there, but it was also what I'm saying is that far as in slavery and all that, the North wanted to win the war. The North didn't even have basically the South wasn't even part of the Union, so the North didn't even have anything to do with what they were doing. To be honest with you, that's just the truth of it.
And the incentive for them to pay reparations to the slave owners was so they can rejoin the Union.
Exactly.
Right, but
that's
it. The white,
that's
these are
it.
like white brothers and sisters, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
but the thing is, it's called self-preservation.
So
Everybody wants self-preservation, and part of self-preservation is it has to be a little bit of almost not quite racism, but it's also with self-preservation means that you want things like you or people that look like you to exist in the future. And the problem is that at the rate of things going on right now, within the next 100 years, I'm gonna give it to you. The white population is gonna be the minority in the United States, and they don't want that. Self-preservation.
So the incentive is if you value America and lifting up America, making America great, as great as it can be, that's the incentive. If you don't care about that, then they have no incentive. So it's what are you valuing? Your racism over or your nationality? So you can have an incentive. It's up to the people. There's an incentive there to do it. If all the problems
to move themselves lower inside the socioeconomic chain,
they don't have to be lower. But if they refuse to raise people up to make the total group, better, right? It actually falls into socialism to make the total group, the total citizens better.
It's always a hierarchy. So like somebody has to be the exploited class. And so if black people no longer become the exploited class and they are like the controllers of the lever, then by like the metrics of capitalism, again, like if you said socialism, it would be a little bit different, but by the metrics of capitalism, then now the black people would be exploiting the white people, and they
No
would have.
one, who says that? That's the assumption.
That's how capitalism works.
No, that's an assumption.
No, that, like
It
that.
could be the fact that
That's a
what
principle.
happens is, like you said before, you get money, people take care of it, and others don't. So what happens is it becomes a more class society where you got black and white people all at the top, and then you got black and white people at the bottom. It doesn't have to be black or white. It can be a mixture of everything.
But
You get
question,
what I'm saying?
what is the profit motive for the wealthiest people in the society to transfer $20 trillion worth of their assets to the poor
So it's not a
to
transfer.
14%?
You have to realize when people are getting paid reparations, black people are paying reparations too via tax. Everybody's paying reparations. And what you're talking about money transfer, that
What's
money
the
was
profit
stolen.
motive? How do they profit off of it? What is
No,
there
there
to
is
be
no
gained?
profit motive. There is no profit motive.
No,
That's the
because
point.
but the thing is this right
It's
here.
a debt.
If they could,
It's a debt.
when we had COVID going on, right? They gave everybody money. Now they gave everybody, anybody that was a citizen, money. Now where did that money come from? That money, if they had the money to give people during COVID, they have the money to be able to do reparations. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be as large as of an amount that people want. But if they did something,
It
but
could also
then
be
if they
scaled
do
over. It
do
could
it,
be scaled over a period of time. Like you give it out
that's
in
what
phases.
I was
Certain
saying.
people get some
That's what
phase, then you get the next phase, then you get the next phase,
that's
but
what
gets paid out over
Jay,
time.
that's what I was stating earlier when I said we would be better giving it in increments than just giving it to them in one lump sum. Because if you give it to them in one lump sum, if they not financially literate, their money be gone in 2.5 years.
So I think we had the same thing, but different points in that. From making it logistically possible, a lot of people, I saw somebody tell me like, where would the money come from? Where do you get all this money? You don't necessarily need it all at one time. You can again stagger it out over a time period so that it's not such a heavy burden. You know what I mean? So people do that all the time. You know, they finance things all the time. They pay it over a term. You know, it's a thing. So we agreed to a X amount of money in reparations to be paid over X amount of years and X amount of increments. I think that's a very easy, or not me saying very easy, but a very tangible thing that can happen without trying to act like we can't come up with the money for this between taxes, Federal Reserve, etc., corporations, institutions that have benefited off of slavery uniquely in the financial services, in insurance, in education. You know, Harvard's endowment alone can pay a nice big tax to what this would be. So could Georgetown, etc. So the money's there, and it can happen.
Yeah,
Right, fellas, just to leave us off with this last question, and if we have time, you know, we can free for all it. But again, I like to use that word realistically. Realistically, what's the balance between fair opportunity and guaranteed stability? What does that look like to everybody here? Let's try and take like 2 minutes on the answer. We'll start at G and then work our way around.
What was the question again?
Realistically, what's the balance between fair opportunity and guaranteed stability?
Like if you like the thing that I don't know if so for me, I don't know if fair opportunities exist. Whereas like, you know, the thing about opportunities is like they're not as much within your control. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, the other side of the coin feels like more something I have direct control over in terms of making something happen versus kind of like hoping things are fair. You know, like I rather try to be in control as much as possible is my general take on it.
Gotcha.
And repeat the question again one more time.
Realistically, what's the balance? What do you think the balance would be between giving people fair opportunity, i.e. capitalism, and guaranteed stability, i.e. socialism? What is the fair balance?
The balance, I mean, I think you have to have it'd probably be, I'm probably 60-40. Like there has to be a floor for people. So like if you fall down, you're not, at the bottom, but you still want people to be able to go out and strive. And like I say, there's a lot of innovations that come from the private sector, and there's a lot of things that you wouldn't want to like handcuff or just kind of like put a limit on just for the sake of making sure everybody's in the same position. I think, having a different outcomes and, people being able to reach different spots in society, I think that is a good thing. And I think, people having that kind of free will and being able to, kind of determine their success, I think that matters a lot. And I think, that's what a lot of the American dream is built on. And I wouldn't ever want to lose that just to say we're all going to, just create an even baseline. So I'd probably say 60-40, 65-35, something like that. A little more capitalism.
Okay. Kamu. Again, we know your disdain for the Pakistan nation. We know your disdain for the Nigerians, and the Africana, whatever, like what y'all call the Caucasians over there. So for you in the South African, like the group of Black people there, the majority of Black people there, what would you say? What is the realistic balance between fair opportunity and guaranteed stability? Again, you said that y'all got lost inside a bit of the capitalist dream, and you've seen how group economics has worked really beneficial for minorities inside your country. What's your thoughts?
I think, first of all, capitalism is ruthless, right? And I think Black people are the only idiots who fall for this nonsense. Everyone else practices socialism in their, in their community, and because they understand that capitalism is ruthless, and they become ruthless when they deal with people who are not from their immediate community. So we have fallen for this capitalism bullshit, and it's not serving us, bro. And I think for me, capitalism has to be fully destroyed. I mean, we have a country in Africa. I'm not sure if you guys know it. It's Eritrea. So normally, what happens is normally the Rwandan there's a country also called Rwanda. They are good in PR, and they are the poster boy for capitalism. Very good in PR. But Eritrea is a socialist state. They have had one leader for the longest of time, and it's the cleanest country. They have no illegal immigration. Everything is working. Their schooling system, they have free water and all of those things. The country is very functional, and it's a socialist country. But no one speaks about it. Maybe because on their side they don't have the same amount of PR and all of those things. So in essence, bro, capitalism doesn't work. For me, it has to be fully destroyed. It doesn't work.
Gotcha. Yeah, Kamu, don't worry. They're laughing at the war that's happening in the chat right now. But let me give you a quick. Well, you said Eritrea or Eritrea. Just a quick sidebar. What's your thoughts on Eritrean women?
Oh, beautiful, bro. Oh man. I mean, we have
they the baddest on the planet, bro. They up there.
Johnny, what's bugging me, dog? Like Ethiopians, Eritrea, and Somalians, we have them. So it's the biggest immigrant community is Nigerians, obviously, and then Zimbabweans, and then it's like Ethiopians. So I put them in the same buckets.
Yeah,
Ethiopians and
Ethiopians and Eritreans are the same people.
You would never see them date like outside their community. Dog, like they don't do that shit, dog. And it really hurts me, dog.
They be doing that crazy dance with the shoulders too. Y'all ever seen them motherfuckers be hitting that shit with the shoulders and shit? You ever been in one of them niggas' parties?
Different.
I know. We talking about Americanized ones, Johnny.
But they
maybe got them.
They do have a lot of Arabic bloodline within them as well. That they do. They have a lot of Arabic bloodline.
Look, for sure.
A lot. A lot of Arabic bloodlines.
They got a lot of Italian too. I think they was colonized by Italy at one point too.
No. Ethiopia was not colonized. Are you going to talk about Eritrea or Ethiopia?
Eritrea, it was.
Okay.
It was.
Eritrea was colonized.
Yeah,
Ethiopia
Eritrea. I
wasn't.
thought you said not Ethiopia though. Yeah.
Pretty much the same. Like it's almost
They're
like
the same people. Yeah.
yeah. And that's why they
Not necessarily, bro. So Eritrea broke away from Ethiopia to form their own country.
Yeah, but they're still the same people.
We're saying like historically.
Yeah, but them specifically in that region, Italians controlled them for quite some time. Whereas in the rest of Ethiopia, Italians didn't, like, they failed, you know. So I think that's the distinction.
I think what we're saying is that they all look like Ethiopians and Eritreans still.
Yeah.
They're cousins.
They
yeah.
all bad though. They we put them. They all beautiful.
The same people.
Wrong dream. Them Ethiopians and Eritreans be all right. Shout out to old man. Talk to us, brother.
Question again, one more time.
Realistically, what's the balance between fair opportunity and guaranteed stability?
I don't know how to answer the question. Stability. I don't know how to answer the question. Honestly, I don't know.
Gotcha. Steve, talk to us.
Hey, man.
Stop crashing out in the chat.
He's too busy, man. Let's Steve get back to doing what he doing.
Hold on, man. Y'all be letting too much slide in that chat.
Let Steve get back to doing what he doing, man. We can go to somebody else, Steve.
We can go to somebody else. I'm not even mad at it.
Man,
it's been a minute since we had a good one too.
Man,
we can go to somebody else, Steve.
She can't talk sideways, and then when somebody say something back to her, now she getting attacked. That's some white woman behavior right there. You know, that's all I want to say. That she throw the first stone, and then she want to play the victim and whatnot. But you know, I think I got a perfect compromise. Like, I think a lot of people say people should work and people should contribute to society. We just guarantee everybody a job. I mean, we can literally fix the infrastructure in America for the next 100 years and employ all Americans, with as much employment as possible.
I think that's a good.
What are you talking about? We ain't gonna be doing certain jobs. What do you guarantee everybody a job?
Roads, nigga.
It's so much. It's more technical than like it's not like backbreaking like it.
It's Steven
I'm just
La La
saying.
Land. What you talking about?
No. Oh man, I'm trying to come up
That's
with
why
a
they bringing the
compromise
Mexicans over here now.
in which it seems in which people are contributing to society. That's
Hey,
all I'm trying to.
Steve, you will always have a job. If you want to go to the farm, you can go to the farm. But we ain't going.
We talking about something that's actually productive. That's going.
That's the most productive thing you can do that feeds the world.
The farm not productive. That's production of food.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The farm shit, they can automate so much of that shit now. The food industry is pretty. The reason why food is one of the few things that have decreased on that inflation chart over the last 50 years is because the U.S. food industry is one of the industries that have got really good at producing said food. So, but like these other critical things as far as our infrastructure and stuff that we kind of been lacking on for the past 50 years, like.
But that's really a global infrastructure for food, because your average grocery store, your strawberries and blueberries probably aren't produced locally unless you go to that one section where they're guaranteed local.
Oh, yeah, agree. So I'm talking about the food supply chain in general. That's one thing that inflation hasn't hit, like healthcare.
But
housing.
the tariffs are. So to that point, I'm curious to see how the tariffs start to impact, like even like those strawberries or those blueberries and these little things of produce as well over the next 6 months or so. I think that's something to be keeping an eye out on, because a lot of these countries now have tariffs, and a lot of the food that we eat definitely comes from these countries, which shout out, go to your local farmers markets. You got to do it.
We don't have to worry about blueberries, because blueberries, the number one place that people getting blueberries from is New Jersey. So long as New Jersey making them blueberries, we ain't got to worry about that.
Unc
We
know
good.
everything, bro. That nigga know everything.
Nobody want no
man.
New
Nigga, who
Jersey
knows New Jersey make
blueberries.
blueberries?
You know, it don't even sound good. New
Yeah,
Jersey
I don't want.
blueberries.
Hey, y'all got
New
to chill
Jersey
on Jersey.
blueberries growing
You
in
got,
that New York
Yeah, we
wind.
you
gotta
got
chill on
rats
Jersey.
munching on the
Motherfucker got
blueberries.
smog on them
New
Yeah,
Jersey
shits.
is
smog
known as
raining
the
on your
Garden
shit every
State.
day.
New Jersey is the Garden State. I'm just being honest with y'all.
That is true.
I'm just saying.
All right,
It's Unc. It's on
let
Unc.
me get you to answer the question. Realistically, what is the balance between fair opportunity and guaranteed stability? What do you see?
I don't think that there is any guaranteed stability, but fair opportunity is out there, is like, you know what I'm saying? It's opportunity for people to do things, but it's up to you whether you want to take advantage of the opportunity. But to be guaranteed anything, I don't think there's guaranteed damn near anything in life except staying black and dying. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Besides that, it's no guaranteed anything. But if you don't try, you know what I'm saying? As far as a fair opportunity, if they were to give opportunity, like, it's opportunity out there now, but people don't take advantage of it because people are lazy. That's the problem. Is if people get up off their ass and do something, they have opportunity. But until they do something, there's no opportunity to a person that don't want to do anything. That's my take on it.
Gotcha. Chuck,
You know,
what is the balance between fair opportunity, i.e., capitalism, and guaranteed stability, i.e., socialism?
I'm starting to agree with Unc more and more. It's he's speaking a lot of truth. I think that guaranteed stability is a utopian idea. I don't think that such a thing exists in reality. I think any political action to redistribute wealth would make everybody poorer because it would have a negative impact on incentives to work hard. So productivity would decrease. I think it would erode freedom. I think
So do you think that like having any version of like a quote unquote welfare state, it just is negative and it erodes freedoms, and like guaranteeing any version of healthcare,
well, no, I didn't.
housing, food, what but that's what the idea is. If we're,
Okay, I would say 80,
like some version of like pure capitalism and pure socialism. What is the meeting ground where you can have like some of each? If you
I would
believe
say
some of each.
I would say 80% capitalism, 20% communism for the welfare programs. But I think that in any free society produces inequalities. You can't have freedom without inequalities because different people have different levels of productivity, and that's going to produce inequality. So this idea that you can produce society with no income inequality is utopian. I think what is involved here is envy, this dissatisfaction that that's produced in men when other people have more than what they have. I think this is like, I'm hearing a lot of envy, but I think it's okay. So let me ask a question: if the wealth in society was tripled overnight without any change in the relative distribution among individuals, would people still feel the same way about their wealth? So if you had 3 times the amount of wealth that you currently have, but Elon Musk has 3 times as much, would you be happier or would you be just as angry as you are now?
I would be happier because I care nothing about Elon Musk's money.
No, but like if everything goes up triple, that means that inflation tripled, and then like you still have the same amount of money to afford what you have. You wouldn't change any, like nothing would change inside the scenario you just laid out.
All right. Can I ask everyone a question real quick? Now, all of y'all, every last one of y'all educated yourselves. You educated yourself to do better. And most of you know what I'm saying, out of everybody, I'm probably the only person that still live in the hood. Me. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm stating is this right here. Is it fair to say that you who went and furthered your education or either you got a job that you educated yourself with skillfully to do it and make the money that you're making, whatever way it is it fair for you to have done that and that dude that ride around on that bicycle with no shirt on at 2:30 in the afternoon to acquire the same things that you acquire and have the same things you have. Is that fair?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I guess I don't think that they would have the same thing, but I think that if that person is riding around on that bicycle was afforded mental health care, like physical health care, a place to put his head at, and like food, water, I think that I would be cool with that. And
No, but you're saying that so you're saying that you're happy with them having the bare essentials. That's fine for everybody to have the bare essentials. But what I'm speaking of, should they be able to acquire the same type of house you have, drive the same type of vehicle you drive, or should they be able to have the lifestyle, the things that you work hard for to get? You worked hard for these things. Everything that you have, you worked hard for, but they do nothing but just, you know what I'm saying? They won't even take advantage of getting a job. Because if you out at 2:30,
I understand what you're saying. I don't think that anybody's advocating for what you're saying, though. Like, I don't think would say that they want that the guy that's riding around in the neighborhood with his shirt off to have the same car, same house, XYZ. I don't want to misspeak for anybody. If somebody disagrees with that, feel free to say it. But
I'll let Kamo go because he's been waiting to go. Go ahead, Kamo.
Yeah, thank you. Look, guys, I know this is an American mentality of working hard. There's no such thing as hard working. People are sitting at their homes and having nice lives. So and someone else spoke about an utopia of guaranteed stability. Guaranteed stability has existed. So we had a country, Libya, before Obama killed Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi had a green book, which was essentially a constitution in his country, which guaranteed his people certain privileges that would guarantee them stability. And that country had been thriving since he's been in power. Obviously, he was a dictator and all of that, but guaranteed stability. That country relied on just one strategic mineral wealth, which was oil. They were making money off of their oil, and from that revenue they were making there, everyone was getting a cut. Every citizen was getting a cut. Now, why did Obama kill Gaddafi? Gaddafi had that vision for the entire continent. What he was going to do, he was going to build a central government and central financial
central
institution.
government banking system.
Yeah, for all of Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then back that up with African mineral wealth. Just imagine his country alone had one mineral wealth, and everyone was guaranteed stability with just one. Bro, are you aware of Africa's mineral wealth throughout the continent?
Socialism.
Yes.
Exactly. And then he was taken out. So to say it's an utopia, it doesn't exist. It has existed. Even now, dog, like the guy was killed in 2012. To this day, their currency is still way heavier than most currencies in the world. I mean, I think it's still the best currency in the world. And he was killed in 2012. He was the only country, Libya was the only country that did not have debt. And just based off that, hence I'm saying this idea of hard work, bro, it's a scam. It doesn't work. It's only Americans who believe in that. It doesn't work. And to a large extent, all capitalistic societies believe in that nonsense. There's no such thing as hard work, bro.
But off of the government taking care of them like that, what liberties did they have to give up? Was it, you know what I'm saying? What was the liberties that they had to give up? What were the things that if they did this, they went to jail? Was it easier for them to go to jail if they did things that sometimes you get a slap on the wrist in other places? Was it death by, was it them causing their life by doing certain things or this, that, whatever, because you're not following the rules of the government and things of that nature? Now, all of that plays into place that
are you talking about same-sex relationships? Like, are those certain things that you're talking about, like being gay and shit? Like, is that like media freedom?
Besides being gay, I'm you know, everybody always want to bring them up. They're not the bottom line of all topics. They're not the bottom line of all topics.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a specific reference to this. So if you're saying I mean, I hear that from major American networks to say like, dictators will deprive you of your freedom, and I want to know, what do you mean freedom? Like, are you talking what exactly are you talking about? Media freedom? Is that what you're talking about?
Americans do have a weird conception of freedom. So, like, if you go to another country, they might not have.
Really quick, I want to hear Unk's take to it. Then we'll throw to you. So Unk, I think to give like an example of what you was questioning, because you said that inside Libya, what did they have to give up when you I think you're saying like the cost for the government to run things inside their life. And so right now he's asking, what are some examples? And like y'all decided not to go down the gay route. So what would be an example that you're saying that people you're asking him, did they have to give up?
Is it a country that, because I never looked into their religion, is it a Muslim, you know what I'm saying, state? Is it a place that brought them? And if it's a Muslim state, that's what they're giving up: freedom of religion, freedom to pray to whatever God you want to. You want government to tell you what God. If it is a Muslim state, you have no freedom of religion, which means you have to pray to whatever God that the government tells you to pray to.
Well, that means nothing.
One of the biggest things.
All these democracies have freedom of religion, and people are fucked up, dog. It means nothing. It literally means nothing. It translates to nothing.
So you're telling me that, for a religious state, any religious state, that means that the government, that's part of that, the governing body controls who you pray to. You have to pray in silence. So now I have to go and pray in silence to Jesus, because I don't want to pray to Allah and go to jail, or even worse, by, you know what I'm saying, by them fading the black on my life off of that. It's certain things that's good, but it's not good important. Things, but them fading the black on your life is not important over who you want to pray to.
Man, I mean, these things are scams, bro. Like religion and all of that. Right now, I can wake up tomorrow and decide to be Muslim. Nothing would change in my life. I could wake up and decide to be a Christian. Nothing would change.
It would exactly change in your life. It would change your life. Let me tell you why. Because if you have a governed body that is governed by a certain religion, which means the practices of that religion is stated by law, means you have to go up under that. That means that whatever you do will have to be up under that religion. That means that, you know what I'm saying, whatever your iman or basically if it was Christianity, your pastor makes the rules of your household. They make the rules of your land. They make the rules of your republic or democratic society or whatever. That's something that should never be in place. That's one of the things that you should never want to give up, is who you pray to or how you pray.
So me having to give up who I pray for or who I pray to than getting a card from a state-owned government entity, which one is more like meaningful?
Basically,
I'm getting a card. I'm not working, I'm getting a card.
Right now, what you're doing is being a capitalist and saying you're not capitalist. Because if you choose money over God, you are the world's greatest capitalist. That's what you're doing.
God are you talking
You're choosing money over God.
Nah, man. No. I'm not buying this. This whole idea of God, man, is a scam, bro. I'm not. No.
We get into the evolution talk.
I think that might be.
We get into evolution.
All right, matter of fact, you
came from the stars.
Fellas, we can save some of this for next week, and we can save some for the after show. But when we talk about the can of worms that was just opened up, shout out to Camus. He opened up that God worm can, and he said what he said, and I know that that's going to elicit a lot of conversation, debate, and I think that this is probably a really, really great space to pause it, to stop it, and let y'all know. Shout out to the panel. This has been a really, really, really good conversation. We went 15 minutes over at that, and yeah, again, we got to have some really good conversations when it comes down to kind of comparing, contrasting Fred Hampton and Jay-Z. Shout out to Johnny for knowing the lyrics. Socialism, capitalism, and it's kind of devolved into a bunch of different versions of conversation, but I think fruitful nonetheless. With that said, at the top, y'all see him, G the King Cashy. Johnny J-Rock 989. A Black tapped out on us early, but always one of the ones. Ka Moo, straight from South Africa. We got a new one, the top of the hate list this week. Shout out to the pack. Old man, straight from Cali. And beside him is Cali brother Steve. Unc, always a favorite. And Chuck, he's popped back in here. We appreciate the conversation. Nonetheless, with that said, this has been a fun conversation. Check out next week. We'll let y'all know what the conversation is going to be, what the topic will be. But again, really enjoyed this conversation. Hope y'all did too. This has been the To Be Fair Show, the G-ish podcast. And with that, this is Unpacked. Peace.
Respect.